Alright, I'm doing it. I can't not do it. We did not come all the way here to not do this. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. Don't care, I like the water. No matter what, the water is home. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so good. Yes, yes. I'm so happy. Yes. Oh, it's so nice. One more time. 1, 2. Okay. Now, we're good to go on an adventure. Adventure. All right, let me drip dry a little bit.
You want me to stop recording or are you good?
Never.
Okay.
Never. We gotta finish this. I'm gonna need this script when you're ready for me, my lady. That's what I'm saying. I was gonna drip a little bit. We can walk. I can carry your shoes if you like.
Sure.
If you like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Good. Adventure.
It's like my favorite park in the world. Like so far. So far. I do love Ginny for camping and like definitely all the water activity with all the floating. Okay, so I just kind of want like a sacred space. Like, what do you think, Chelsea? This way. Okay. I just want to like pull over in a little nook wherever you think might be nice. There's a waterfall over there, but it's a popular spot for sure. I'm not sure how much memory is in there, but I'll try to go through the script as quick as possible. Jai Bhagwan! Jai Jai! Allow me to catch my breath if you might. Hola! Oye! Aloha! Shalom! Namaste, Jai Bhagwan, hi, hey, hello, how are you? Have you even checked in with yourself today and honored how you feel and what you have witnessed and gave yourself permission to properly digest, process, and take action accordingly as important? Question mark. I'll let you meditate on that one until you feel more comfortable if you choose. And you may wish to pause this video and take a few moments to pause and reflect upon this, but for those who are ready for me now, allow me to invite you to be on a journey with me. Oh no. Can I like... Thank you kindly, thank you kindly. Allow me to invite you on a journey with me for the session of this video. Remember, if you need a moment to digest, give yourself permission to pause and reflect as needed and most appropriate for you and those around you and your environment. Be mindful of the energy you bring to the space. That's one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned from my personal Reiki master, Heather. My fellows, if you don't know who I am, my name is Trina Christine Mason. I'm originally born in Miami, Florida, in the United States of America, born February 26, 1992. Unfortunately, I guess you could say I was naturally born a soldier here. However, I do fight in the honor of GOD or GOD. Excuse me, I'm not really sure if I got that all correct. I'm kind of adding some additional stuff on the way here, trying to be as real as possible with you, okay? And for this Mother's Day 2019, I'd like to make this my offering to Mother Earth and all of her inhabitants. And I'd enjoy to be the leader, the motherboard of this ship, this journey, as you allow me to lead you into a few of my favorite thoughts and realizations I've gathered so far with my 27 years of existence. I couldn't possibly make this video without mentioning shout out and a happy Mother's Day to my mother, Lisa. For without her, I wouldn't be. I'd enjoy to additionally make a personal and public apology to my mother for personally being judgmental, not understanding, shutting down, unaffectionate, mean, and all the other shadows of me that you had to see, experience, and know as me. Excuse me, this is very difficult. I'm sorry for every ounce of pain and difficulty I may have consciously or unconsciously I may have caused you, and I hope to continue our path of healing together. Next, I'd love to say thank you to my father, Jeffrey, for choosing my mother and for following through with the creation of me, making me your only offering to the planet together. It's an honor to be able to share this project I've been working on for months with you. Last but not least, on the personal level, I would enjoy to say thank you to my brother Terry for teaching me so much without words. And in your state of character, you've really inspired me as a person, and I'm grateful for you being so loving and supportive of the bringing of me into this world and for helping them with me. I love you all. Now, allow me to also be honest and mention that it's important to me to always be honest, and that is just the one way that I know that I can love myself, is by really truthful with myself, because otherwise, like, I'm denying myself my own individual blueprint, my own DNA, my own thing. Yes, I'm the only female left, so my whole life I've grown up as a little girl daydreaming that I would find a superhero that would come rescue me and be my loving partner for the rest of my life. And some of it was from the television programming, plus, you know, there wasn't like super, like, I don't know, I guess I don't really remember you guys like touching each other or stuff like that. And so I guess I grew up kind of really always wondering like where's the true love, or like what is, I don't know, it's kind of a long story, and I'm trying to again keep it genuine but also real. And it's so much further, it's very deep in the subconscious. That's kind of what this video is about here today. I'm addressing shadow work, all my personal experiences that I used to think was like making my life so horrible or difficult and different, such as my father having terminal illness from the moment I was born. And it was an illness that basically was very stigmatized, like where nobody knew any education about the dis-ease that had happened. They just knew that it attacked the immune system, and it was like life-threatening. So I grew up my whole life like really scared, like where am I, who am I, like who's for me, what's going on. Like I have just like 3 like really tight family members that, like, you know, sometimes even then I feel like I don't identify. I always felt so different. I even had a bunch of other experiences. Allow me to continue. Before I do, I'm supposed to definitely mention something that Terry had said to me, my brother, who is, yes, in fact, my half-brother, and his father had actually passed away from the same illness that my father has. And from my story, I hear my mom telling me that she made my name rhyme with Terry Lee. And so she came up with Trina Christine. And when I looked into the name, I found it meant Trinity or pure, and then Christine of Christ, And then Mason for like rocks, or like, I don't know exactly, like some people would say witchcraft, like the Freemasons. I mean, I'm not really too sure, so I had to do my own personal homework, and this was most important to me. Now for the rest that has yet to be mentioned by name, please allow me to share with you first, Happy Mother's Day to you. You made it. Are you happy? Do you care? Are you disconnected from your feelings? Are you out of touch? Do you want to run away? Are you trying to hide and have secrets? I decided to face all my secrets and all of my embarrassments and all of my like horrible things that I thought was wrong until I did my homework and realized this is what humanity is, and this is the story that's going on so far that I've seemed to understand from collecting all of these pieces all over the universe. Now, you may not be a mother, and you may hate your parents or the whole world and your environment, or just you have like that in your heart. I understand the infection. I've been there. I had to breathe through it. I had to be with it. I had to get over it. I had to let it not affect me, to win in calmness, and to find the joy and say thanks for the suffering. What did I learn? I learned about this thing called trauma bonding and spin pair and equal and opposite attraction to, and like it's kind of like a physics thing. It's hard to understand, but like in my subconscious I feel it and I really understand it. And I'm a unique character that you may not understand, but if you like, I do have so much more to share with you. Thank you so far. Allow me to be the one to remind you how special you are, and how you're an offer of energy to Gaia, Mother Earth, whether you're conscious of it or not. Kind of like how you're dust eventually, and you're going to the ocean, or you burn. No matter what, no matter can be created or destroyed. It can only change form. E equals MC squared. Mass, speed of light. That's what's up. In order to proceed appropriately, it would be best to make my greatest public apology. Excuse me. I apologize for taking my greatest gift on earth for granted, my breath. And most of all, my love. The power of my love, or should I say God's love. I understand some people are definitely allergic to that word. They don't understand. I understand that too. If you're interested in hearing more, I promise I've got so much more to teach if you allow me to. After all I have sought, may this be my offering, give you back what I have done with the seed of life planted in me as me. And let me water you as I have been watered before I allowed myself to take for granted my life. After all my years of life, so far, this is what was worth gathering and understanding. I encourage you to surpass me and take this and build what you can with it. All that I ask you to do is come back and water me as I have done for you. Make sure that I am taken care of and still blooming, and if not, please make sure that the ones I love and care about, you and all that creepeth creepeth, all are all loved and all taken care of well, and that means like the entire earth, like the creatures, like the bugs, the spiders. It's so deep, please. And like, be conscious that I am just one man, one human, one girl, one mother, if ever. I do choose to walk that path if I don't get killed or like conquered, right? Welcome to the new world. I have so much to share with you what I've learned. I am grateful to all of those who I have met who have touched me in a way that their light lives on through me as me. I am proud of all these pieces of me I have gathered and kept. I'd love to say a special thanks to Uncle Frank of Juggalo Championship Wrestling, Heather of SphereHeals.com, and LaDonna of YourSoulRecovery.com for their teachings and words that have become some of my own to assist my personal self-development. I absolutely love the parts of you that live on through me as me. Additionally, I'd like to thank all of my teachers, even the bullies, This video is above all else to my fellow ninjas and anyone who is ruled or influenced by death and hatred, isn't happy to be alive, has a hard time smiling, is faced with difficult challenges, and for those who are dedicated to the path of healing, thank you for walking with me on this journey I call my life. You know, if nobody cares, I am nobody. I'm not spiritual, I'm conscious. Jai Bhagwan, my warriors. And thank you for allowing me to share what I have received. I love you all. Now allow us to truly begin. Now this video is shadow work and dedicated to the path of all healing, understanding above all else. Many are in denial and neglect and refuse to accept the truth and don't even know the truth. Allow me to quote Heather on what shadow work is to her. Shadow work is facing everything we project onto others, which often shows up in fear, judgment, and ideas about others as energetic states in ourselves. This frees us from being icky. This frees us from being in icky ways with and about others. It allows us to know ourselves better. So in other words, what I see in you is like what's in me. It's electromagnetic energy, it's like the currency, electromagnetic currency. Okay, your toroidal field from your heart center. This is a thing, your aura, your light body, the 12 layers of the auric field. It's in Healing Hands of Light. Excuse me, I've just looked at the book a little bit. I need to do some more homework, so please be patient as I get more to you. I met Heather about 7 years ago, and maybe more. I personally had to do a lot of shadow work when I became a Reiki master at Sphere, particularly Reiki 2. And even after becoming one, excuse me, that wasn't fun. It's still not fun because it never ends. We'll get there. For me, it's all been about integration, equalizing the polarities within myself. I also enjoy how Kara never taught me it. She says, as making the unconscious conscious, making the unseen seen. She's a great Reiki master as well. Carl Jung, I've heard mentioned a lot about shadow work, and from my understanding, but I've only intuitively connected with this energy on this aspect of this. I've also originally got tapped into Edgar Cayce, and I was just kind of naturally intuitively drawn to that. I'll admit that in 2nd grade I was kind of drawn to the back of the classroom to investigate like magic, because my intuition just was always telling me like, what's up with all these stories? I wanted to know the truth and all the fairy tales. I was just a kid, you know, but I kind of like that part, like where we can fix curses and we can like heal the world. Like if I'm a witch, I'm a good witch. I want to change the world, make everybody happy and peaceful and not kill anything, you know, maybe unless like you're literally about to take me out and it's like me or you, and it's only because like you're being something. Like I understand that, but like other than that, trust in divine energy, pure energy. 1 second, please. Oh man. I also love Krishnamurti. I have a lot of guides, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein. I've heard other people call this energy the dark night of the soul. And for me, my understanding of life, the snake will die if it does not shed its old skin. We are all in a period of balancing the polarities as a whole, and it's important for the new age coming, for all the new children that are going to be born, and there has to be energy paid attention to all the babies that aren't being born, because the mother, like, viewmanship is being attacked, because basically, like, look at the imagery of like how the women are supposed to put on lipstick or put on high heels and morph their feet, and just all the subconscious things. The lipstick representing like geisha, prostitution, and it was actually back then considered a very like a healing thing, because when you make love to people, the energies transfer. We know this. When you touch someone, we know that the energy transfers. There's scientific levels of this where DNA transfers. DNA mixes when you make love to people, not just when you become pregnant. And yes, I personally believe if people are making love to animals for generations, I definitely believe there has to be some kind of like DNA transfer, even if like they can't procreate. There has to be something there. And you know that like the main animals that those are, okay, I forgot Chelsea's word. No! I'm like, it's like the defenseless. The defenseless! Did you know patience in the Bible is called long suffering? You have to be patient. You have to pay the price of waiting. Divine timing. Quantum mechanics. Now, I've been a highly sensitive person since I was a child, and truth be told, I originally rejected these parts of me, such as autism, or psychic, or too smart, or too different looking, or just like, I don't know, not fitting in, always getting picked on, poor man mentality, sexualized, trauma. I don't know, man. I'm gonna get into there. That I originally rejected. I was even in middle school book as voted most unique, and if you look at the picture, I really wasn't a happy kid. I dressed all gothic, and I was really dark. A lot of things happened in my subconscious that I didn't really understand. I think some things happened to me when I was like a baby. I can't really prove it. However, I do believe in genetic memory as well. We will get into that a little bit longer. But basically, it's kind of about where your pains are passed down for generations. But so is the good luck. It's quantum mechanics, it's energy, it's becoming heart-centered. That's why the chakras are suddenly so popular. They have to let you know what's going on just a little bit, otherwise it's bad for the karma. From my understanding of the way of the energy workings, especially as we raise like higher frequency into the galaxy or whatever's actually happening right now, okay? So, but my dad pointed out yesterday that fact that I wasn't really a happy kid. Maybe I would have just been happier, you know, if he wasn't so honest and truthful. And I told him it was worth the price of all that great wisdom and truth that he shared. And we laughed together and had like one of the greatest times of my life. I have a long story about each and every one of my shadows, but I'm not here to stroke my ego or drain myself or you of unnecessary shedding. So I will continue to keep this informative, distilled, and harmonious as possible. However, sometimes that can be extremely difficult if I'm being very honest. It can be abrasive energy to completely be realizing like, oh my God, I was in a trance, or I didn't understand what's going on. MK Ultra, uh-oh, chemicals got me, uh-oh, what was I thinking? I don't know, I didn't want to see that, uh-oh. Consciousness, subconscious, conscious, superconscious, okay? 3 Trinity, 3 Dantians, the meridians. There's so much different stuff to get into. When we are first born, wait. Please know that my name is Trina Christine Mason. And I've just learned a lot of different things about like my name being in all capitals and representing a corporation, or how supposedly our birth certificate is a number that is marketed on the stock exchange. I mean, I'd have to do my homework a little bit more, but I've definitely heard some rumors of these things, and just even having those bugs in my ear really messed with my head. Also, Walmart apparently has made bees. They made bees, electromagnetic bees. And like, I think that one landed on me the other day. I know I can't really prove that. No matter what, you want to believe my word, but like, I'm sensitive. I really love nature. I love to tap in. Now, yeah, I'm not a professional. And the only difference between like amateurs and professionals is that professionals get paid. So if you want to like invest in me and believe in me and my purpose and my intention of love, of changing the world for the power of love and 6 degrees of separation, and bringing all of those degrees together instead of being so ignorant and not seeing what's really going on the big illusion here, the matrix. Now, however, from my own personal suffering, I have learned how to like integrate and cope and to understand what I feel. I'm using my powers for good, my skills and my talents, but my skills and my talents are completely useless without someone like you to make use of what I have to offer. And like, there's a thing that's about using the powers for good, or not using them at all, or not understanding the subconscious and how it works, and the way electromagnetic frequencies work. You can look at the CIA and like look at remote viewing, and I'm trying to think of those other things that they do. Psychometry, like where you can touch things and receive information from it. Edgar Casey, Houdini, a lot of people used to do things like this. I know you like want to believe something else. I know that they've done tests with like hallucinogenics, like where they took LSD, lysergic acid, and they supposedly were trying to build psychic soldiers and transfer DNA, and supposedly it killed a goat, and supposedly like George Clooney made like a mockery movie about it, you know, trying to make fun of it, but it's actually like supposedly a real thing. Same thing with the Native Americans. Supposedly they cut off all the Native Americans' hair so that way they lost their nervous system, their whole sense of feeling and being, and yeah, they were thrown off. Now, I love you so much. My intention is only to help as much as I have learned, as I have suffered. Like, what good is my suffering if, like, I can't just save you from, like, what I've been through, or just, like, help you get through that, you know? I've committed to the path of healing. I've become a Reiki master. You know, I'm really interested in continuing my services and working for the powers of good instead of evil, even though I had, like, allowed myself to be influenced by, like, the shadows or the natures of man. Because it's all I had witnessed. I've never known the difference between the good and the evil. I didn't really understand the polarities, didn't really understand boys or girls. I kind of rejected my feminine for a long time. You may notice that, like, I never wore girl clothes. I know that's, like, inappropriate in this day and age, but really that's literally something that happened to me because I learned that I had to protect myself, and that if I dress like this, that people are going to think something like this, and then something like that's going to happen, and then I have to, like, protect myself and not let this stuff happen. So I'd become a warrior in some levels, through, like, meditation or, like, movement or whatever you'd like to perceive that. So please excuse my foul language. So far in life, I've only been, like, an entertainer. I've done professional wrestling, juggling. I'm like, I guess I can sell stuff. You know, I can do stuff, but, like, I'm an artist. And, like, I'm kind of a starving artist. Like, it's just me. I don't own a corporation. It's just me. I'm just interested in traveling the world and experiencing and learning and sharing and loving, most of all. And remembering my purpose, why I'm here. And I believe that's to teach about love, unconditional love, or God, or dog, man's best friend. You can beat up a dog so much and hurt it so bad, and it will still come around and love you. Have you ever noticed that about animals, especially those animals? It's really sad and messed up, but you can witness it, and that's why they use the pit bulls for the attacks. Those are, like, one of the sweetest animals, but they realize if they get them all rowdy and mean and take away food and just treat them certain ways, you'll see how evil they get. But what do you think that they did to those animals to make them react that way? There's tons of wild scientists that have done horrible, horrible things. You can look up how America had basically apologized for feeding Ukrainian in the cereal to children. And they've done lysergic acid things. Having, like, a hard time hearing and breathing. I feel like under energetic attack hardcore. I like to get moving because I don't know how much space is left. When we are first born, we are so innocent and untainted. When we experience life, we become colored and painted. By experience, we witness and have habitual patterns created. And we are born natural and perfect as is. We are all so different, and an individual DNA blueprint and a healthy development. Sometimes some of us are born with unique birth stories, like what happened when you came into this world, or why the parents decided to do it, or what their story was that they were saying and thinking and assuming. Have you ever broke down the word assume? A-S-S-U-M-E? You might want to think about that a little bit. You might want to pay attention to the language, such as MAD. M-A-D, mutually assumed destruction. It's where we all hurt each other because we don't care. We're so disconnected. We're not one with nature. But with what we're doing to the planet, there's literally, like, the oxygen, like, there's all this stuff going on. You have to pay attention. You can't not notice that. And even why your parents, and health issues. Unfortunately, yes, there's all kinds of things that sometimes go wrong in the middle of birth, and sometimes there are women and people that never got a chance to be born because some people used their divine will or thought that they could do this and manipulate the forces of nature, but you didn't understand that everything had an equal and opposite reaction. There's a balance, a yin, a yang. Like, the way that I like to think about it is the cookie. There's a cookie that is black and white, but half and half. The top is chocolate frosting, the bottom is white frosting, but they're one of the same cookie. I can bite them in the middle, and I get a little piece of each. It's no different. It's the same thing. It's the balance of energies. If you want to add a little white and a little black on each one with a little dot of frosting, we can do that too. But it's still the same thing. Please understand. See the whole, the unity, the balance, the ability to see between good and evil. There's all these references, these subliminal consciousness, using the powers of knowledge for good or for harm. You know, we know the knowledge of fire. We can use it for good or for harm. Let's just keep going. We are a combination of cells. Like, literally, like, parents come together and you become like one thing, like, from that moment that they experience together. It represents a complete unity of polarities, boy and a girl. You need a woman to give birth to a man, but you need a man to do that. So you have to wonder sometimes what came first, the chicken or the egg. I know there's a lot of like religious texts that answer those questions, but seriously, have you ever seriously look at all the quantum mechanics, all the life that we have spent here, and there's still no answer? You know what I mean? My dad was telling me a joke the other day by Joe Rogan where it's like everyone's just like going to school, they're being scientists, they're being physicists, and they're just like acting like, hey, do you know what's going on? And everybody's like, yeah, I know what's going on. And he's like, fine, yeah, me too. It was like just a really kind of cute thing. I haven't got to see it. I would watch it. I'm definitely a fan of Joe. I would love to be like the female Joe if that was like a thing, and like I would be welcome in the world and not be like red scarf or like yeah, all those things that happen to people over generations, especially people like me that are peacemakers, you know? I'm trying to spread the agendas, bring us all together, and there's everybody else that's saying, no, you're wrong. They're judging, they're assuming, they're like mad. Like they don't understand that anything that they reject in me is something that's like in them, and I can help them if you want to like talk through it. But if you don't open up and tell the truth and you're just like have all your secrets, I hear an office line. Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. My dad always taught me to tell the truth, man. No matter how like mean it is, I just had to be real. And I know sometimes that hurts some people's feelings, but like it's important to me to stay true to like my family name. Like, and my mom is a free spirit like me, and she's like unconditionally loving, but she's also like really tough and like violent. I mean, I'll admit their shadows are identical. Polarities is like the perfect unity. That's why I got born. Why do you think I'm here? How do you think it's magic, right? I'm magic. I'm unconditional love. Yeah. I took a spiritual gifts test at a church thanks to like some like almost random person from the universe that you could say God gave to me, an accident. A teenage girl took me to church. I took this thing called a spiritual gifts test, and apparently I had the gift of miracles and craftsmanship, and I've always like been like that. And I actually also went to an ashram, and they had taught me that Jesus was given the gift of miracles so that people would believe. So if you believe in me, then I'm a Lenin Siddhi. Then I can empower you, make you happy. But I'm useless if you don't believe in me. But if you don't believe in you, if you don't believe in me, what's left? What's left? What are you going to manifest? What are you choosing? It's just painful. It's just painful for me because I am you. I feel you. I'm you in a different body having a different experience. And I'm getting chills and goosebumps. I'm so guided by like the spirits and the laws of nature and physics that I just can't help but tell you the truth. Now, we are born into consciousness with the first breath. Even inside the womb sac, you understand there's like water. Like, just think about that just for a minute, okay? And then, like, pay attention to how, like, some of the, like, old pagan gods, where they worship, like, the fish. And there's kind of, like, all these things about genetics. Like, I can't not notice all the similarities. I hear ATCG, the 4 bottom nucleosides that say that we all have the same mother, the same bottom base DNA. It goes so much deeper than this about, it's towards the end. So I hope you can be patient. Now, we begin developing the self, right? After we're being born, we're surrounded by our parents, or like influence of like, including genetics, right? We've got an ancestral thing like, oh, she had diabetes, oh, she got COPD, she got this or that. It's passed down. You see that the people keep the trauma passes on. You can pay attention to the health, because the health shows the reflection of what you're not taking care of in the cells, the self, the feelings, cells times feelings, the self. You got to open up and get in touch with yourself. But if you keep rejecting yourself, then you're going to keep rejecting me. And like all of the mothers and all of the Mother Earth. I have a personal belief system, like once I started paying attention to some of the illusion that's going on, the matrix, the shadow, or whatever you want to choose to paint this narrative. Okay, excuse me, this is just how I feel and how I understand things. Like, I'm like almost losing because it just gets me so upset. It just gets me so upset, like when I witness what they're doing to the subconscious mind and the subconscious programming, and like it's sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. Please allow me to focus and regather myself. The environment changes also affect us, okay? So we know that from watching behavioral scientists that depending on if 2 sons are born in separate families, you got a rich boy, poor boy, however you want to judge that narrative, and they're separate and they're twins, and see their spin pair, spooky action at distance, twin flames, parallel realities, however you choose to believe that. We become a mixture of father, paternal characteristic traits, qualities, plus mother. So we're like a unity of them, like, you know, like for me, like my dad's not very like a touchy-feely person. But I think I know why. Like, I'm very sensitive, so I can like really touch, yeah, the psychometry stuff. I won't lie. Like, that stuff freaks me out, but it also excites me. If it's real, then I'd like to use my powers for good and to help tell you the stories of what she has to tell. I've heard so many beautiful stories from Pachamama, Mother Earth, Gaia, in case you don't know this. Excuse me. It becomes how we tend to see everything, how we view the sexes of other people. Like, we expect everyone to be like our mom, we expect everyone to be like our dad, or we have their same viewpoints, or we have their ways of being. They become us, exactly. Like, my mom's like really free spirit, I'm really free spirit. She's also rowdy, I'm rowdy. My dad's a little rowdy, but he's more calm now. You know, I'm both. I'm a Pisces, okay? Yeah. I'm the polarities. I'm the one who is choosing to understand everything and loving everything instead of rejecting anything, and just honoring everything and just witnessing what it does. So this is especially affecting us, like the parents influence, all that it's happening on the subconscious, because like the subconscious absorbs 100% of what it receives, and like it almost like automatically believes everything, because it's just like you are a space, like you're obtaining all this information. You've learned information about school, you know this about this family, you know this, you know this, you know this. You're holding all of that. Anytime you want, you can access that stuff. That's also sometimes called the Akashic or the Etheric, the Matrix, the World Wide Web. Okay. Plus, of course, we are additionally formed from culture, from combination of influence, plus like your brothers, your sisters, family, where they take you and allow other people, places, and things to experience you, and you experience it, them, etc. Some are born into different circumstances, as stated before. Born into a family in Yemen in poverty, and some are born into Dubai, into wealth, and artificial intelligence, RoboCops. Awesome, but scary. Everyone prepare to be protected and served by a robot. I understand. There's plenty of ways to tell these stories and why everyone has his story. It's all about perception. The lenses are you looking at? Are you looking at things through love and understanding, or are you rejecting and hating everything? Which polarity runs through you? Are you open? Are you closed? Do you understand? Can you see? Can you hear? Can you feel? Are you in touch with your senses, your gifts? Those are all of your gifts. All of your gifts. Pay attention and use them wisely. Attempt to witness and understand what's going on with the body and everything. Be careful what you chant and enchant. Some people that have been chanting, I choose not to see, I choose not to hear, I don't want to know. So they lose their minds. What do you think's happening? There's like aluminum in the sky, there's fluoridation in the water. I know everyone basically hates Hitler, but he had the same agenda as Agenda 21. One race, one people. They want to make the superhumans the most. It's like, it's insane. It's kind of like genius, but it's also like a mess if you actually pay attention. What the shadows are showing if you pay attention. Excuse me, I'm starting to get scared because like I know that a lot of people can do their homework and find this information, but I can't lie. Sometimes I wonder, like, man, am I gonna get killed? Am I just gonna suddenly disappear or drop dead or something, some type of accident, you know, or something like. People are like, shut your mouth, like exactly, red tape, put a little like mouse mask on or something, you know. I do believe a lot of people have been whacked and they've been downgraded to suicides. There's tons of that, especially to keep things on quiet or chill. It's just like, cause it's a lot. They think that they're doing good. Let me say that. They genuinely think that they're doing good, but they don't understand. They don't understand the truth, and I'm here to just tell the truth. Remember, everyone has his story. We all deserve to live together and to grow together, but it's a choice. You have to choose to love and understand and to unify. Now, each of us experience the world and have conditioning and like basically world or societal expectations of us and like how we're supposed to be. Our parents tell us how we're supposed to be. Can't do this, don't do that. All the negative, right? They think they're protecting, but they're not respecting the divinity of the polarities. They just didn't understand. They were out of touch of the story. And we witness what we believe to be normal and become someone under all the pressure. Someone. There's a great story about somebody, anybody, nobody. It's a poem that's so amazing. If I memorized it, I would give it to you. But it's about how you are somebody, and isn't that who you always wanted to be? I learned that from the Rainbow family. I'm definitely mixed with Hopi Indian and excuse me, not Hopi, Cherokee, but I do believe to be connected to the Hopi Indian prophecy of the 12 tribes, the Pleiades, and all this information. I do believe in the star seeds and all this stuff. I cannot deny the power of life, the power of breath. When I exhale, you inhale. There's definitely a divine unity going on. If you could choose to understand that and see the beauty of the world as it is, instead of like destroying it and not understanding its purpose. So much like diamonds, we are carbon. 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, and 6 protons. 666. How ironic to be the symbol of CERN. And there's Shiva outside of their building, showing you. There is some great beauty in that. Man is the one who has the power to manipulate the forces of nature if he chooses. But where is his will? Where is his heart? Does he have one? Has it been stricken from him? Has he forgotten the truth? Has he been so disconnected for so long? Has he chosen to not see? Has he chosen not to hear? Does the soul speak a song? Are you listening? I think this is why the Illuminati and the secret societies of the world secretly worship Lucifer. Or as I've come to know it, Revelations 9:11, which is the story of Abaddon and Apollyon. From my understanding, they worship him because he was an angel in the Garden of Eden and felt like a captive prisoner. And he felt like God was an evil being for keeping secrets of wisdom from all of mankind. So the angel became the snake and told Eve to eat the apple of knowledge and allowed them, hold on, I think I'm losing it. Snake told Eve the secret, and suddenly they both had eyes and could see more than the middle eye and the heart center. They could see the shadows of the world, man. Consciousness, full consciousness, everything that God can see, and then God's like, fine, I'm gonna back off. You want it that way? Something like that. I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to understand. If you understand, please leave some comments. Please help me. Help me understand. I'm breaking down this story for you from my personal journey of this beauty of stuff that I see as life, which is also dark, scary, traumatic, yet wonderful at the same time. It depends. Life is a comedy to those who think and a tragedy to those who feel. You can backtrace some of these things, excuse me. Because of this, and the power of God, breath and intention, and the allowance of consciousness from seed of a thought, we can create reality. Build the seed from substance. From my understanding, what you focus on and what you intend, whether fear-based or not, manifests itself based on your Hertz frequency, consciously or unconsciously. Be mindful of all this. This is why God said you will surely die, because man would then have the power and focus of consciousness on shadows and wouldn't understand the purpose of the polarities. And I believe this is also why, like, it's like if you focus on all the negative, it's what you draw towards you, you know? So if you know the difference between good and evil, all you're gonna focus on is the bad. Because man was like, especially Eve, you know, she was like according to the biblical story, right? Like there's a woman taken from the rib of man. So she's like half man, half God. And then like, yeah, her spawn. You know, the story goes on also basically that she has 3 sons. And then they somehow start families and the whole lineage continues. She's supposed to be the mother of all mothers. Does this not sound like Egypt and Isis and Horus? And like, wouldn't Adam and Eve had to kind of be brother and sister technically if they're like kind of the same cell? No? I don't know, but they're taken from the same thing. They're twins. There's some, in my opinion, they're half twins. They're half twins, something like that. Something weird. I don't know. Again, you need a woman to make a man. That really was just messing with my mind. Okay. So I wonder why, or if this is why Apple used the symbol of biting into the apple. We basically become a space full of stories. School, sex, intimacy, self-respect sometimes, collected data of information integrated. We develop persona full of personal likes and dislikes, attachments in what we attract and avoid, develop character or personality and forget that we are the witness, the ever-changing. This is the conscious self. Sometimes we think that we are our job or our relationship or our kids, or who we have been in the past, or we think that we are people, places, and things. We have all these attachments, like these stories, these narratives, these feelings, these beings that we're not really fully consciously, super consciously, you know, fully understanding. After all of our experience, especially our misunderstandings and the pain, we tend to forget to come back to heart center, and so we basically become hard and cold or conditioned creatures. I don't think is the intent. This isn't the original intent. Because think about it, like, there is no reason for us to ever have to kill. We could eat all of the plants, but what did we suddenly get the knowledge that that's an option? And then we decided to just keep destroying it, just never stop, because it just became traumatic bonding constantly. Do we have to like really destroy it? We don't have to destroy. We don't have to destroy. We can choose to unite and to form like a hive, and not just using the hive swarm mind that they're trying to do with all the AI. A lot of this is seen in the shadows and things we can't see and have no control or awareness of. Subconscious, unknown, unseen, preconditioned, habitual responses, ego, inner narrative. I personally call this the subcon. Like, you know, submissive, and it's like controlling, or like like a con. You know, it's manipulative. Sometimes we become blinded by the experience or narrative, or even believe the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. Sometimes we don't even know that we're lying. Sometimes the judgment is based on our character development of inner dialogue or ego protection. It's for a protection. Understand, we don't understand, and we're just trying to feel and just be okay without being embarrassed and shamed and humiliated and just like beat up or hurt anymore. We just don't want to hurt anymore. Is that okay? They think it's a white lie because they think it doesn't hurt nobody, but it's all about the secrets that you just won't open up and tell the truth and command your boundaries and tell them that you need your space, or like to treat others kindly or respect, or something that you learn differently, that you find the polite motherly way to say please. Or like, exactly, a lot of people have learned that like sometimes people don't listen or they don't care. You have to just know how to separate your energy without creating harm. Let no one inflict pain on me, let me inflict pain on no one. It could be a false narrative painted by a past experience, you know? Like, it's hard to be in the now. You're blocked energy, blocked emotional energy, emotion, energy in motion, emotion. It's blocked, it's stagnant, because you're like, I can't feel that right now, I can't process that right now, I can't handle this. One of my good friends, Amrit Desai, he calls this looking at things through the lenses of your past experiences. It's one of the greatest places I've ever spent in my life. I'm so honored to have met this guy. I wish I could continue learning from him so badly. I wish to hear from him so badly. So much love to them. So much love to Guru Dev. We have the same shadows. I love you so much. True forgiveness is not allowing the past to affect the future. That is also his quote. Now, my mom also called this looking at life through the rose-colored glasses, and it's funny because my mom used to give me cute little rose-colored glasses, and I used to love that. So I love how she would kind of try to make me her cute little Barbie doll, but sometimes I kind of was like, man, I just want to be more than just that to you. But I was like, I guess, a good model, and I became a model, but I didn't really know what I was modeling after, you know. I was just kind of like replicating what I saw and just trying to like survive and just make it okay and figure out how am I going to eat, how am I going to stay alive, what am I going to do, what's my way, who am I, show me, show me, show me. And just like the camera was kind of, I guess, my thing of like getting in touch with myself. But there was a lot of shadows of that too, like where I kind of doing webcam stuff and then people finding out who I am and doxing me and kind of harassing me and offering abusive nature and forcing me to do things that I didn't really want to do. But I called them my jigsaw. I was so thankful for them because they made me wake up and see the truth and really want to fight to live. That was one of the first things that happened to me. I mean, there's so much more trauma before that that's very deep here, and I'll get there too. So basically what ends up happening is we become avoidant and willingly ignorant. Frozen, fragmented, frozen, that's Heather's words, frozen. Cognitive dissonance. We resist the process. That's John Zangreen working through me. Stagnant blocked energy shows develop, stagnant blocked energy shows, and like subconsciously seen or unseen, it shows. You just have to pay attention to what's going on, like people smoking, people drinking, people being self-destructive. I'm sorry, when I get nervous I kind of talk loud, and yeah, I'm having a hard time. Like, I can't yawn. Oh, like maybe I didn't equalize before I went underwater. Need to do some pranayama for sure, some breath work. Stimming, hold on. Yeah, we basically develop a story about the self. We fail to give permission outside the story Man, give yourself permission. That came from one of my greatest teachers, ZTM, man. I always gotta give props to the teachers, you know. Oh man, I'm so thankful for these people who have shared these things with me because they drastically changed me as a person. So yes, please recognize when you don't give yourself permission to step outside the story, like your cultural influence, or somebody tells you that you're supposed to be like this or that, you know, don't be fearful to experience yourself how you wish to experience yourself. You got to give yourself permission to be yourself, you know. Like I hear Uncle Frank, what's the wonderful thing about Tigger? That he's the only one. But that's you, your DNA too. You have to know the truth. Okay? So sometimes we have our self-expectations too. We're like, man, my health, I know I'm supposed to look like that. Or like, what? I know I'm not my best. Or like, only you know your shadows. But people who really love you are going to tell you the truth. The way that I really love you, and the way that I love you, is by seeing the me inside of you. And the way that I make you love you is by showing you how I see you through my eyes. Good and bad. There is no such thing though if you can understand polarities and how much it actually creates harmony. I'm like, I'd love to give props to who that is. If you write it down in the comments, I'll be able to tell you. I'm sorry, I need to keep moving. I've like blacked that out. They're making me move on. I'm running out of space. I need to go. Sometimes we like go to our comfort zone just because like this is our habitual response. We're just doing the same thing over and over. Like mine was definitely like stuff like that, and just like crystals kind of really helped me, and just me connecting to the earth. Sometimes we mask and we hide. Hi, I was an actress. I'm Trina. What's up? Excuse me. Unfortunately, like when you play a part on camera, people think that you're really that person, even if you're pretending. And people judge you for your family. There's no money. We made that up. It was a piece of paper. I'll get more into that later. Sometimes we keep ourselves busy with experiences, people, places, and things, sometimes even substances. We try to do everything to tear ourselves apart. Sometimes some of us like to go get like fake nails done, or some of us like to drastically cut and separate ourselves from our nervous system, right? We're conditioned to shave. The women are taught to shave. They can't have any nervous hair. They can't have any care because then they'll be too tapped in, or like, I don't even know. But we know that the hair is an extension of the nervous system, so is the teeth and the fingers. Anyone that studies traditional Chinese medicine would know this. Those are actually my initials, TCM. I would love to go to school for that. That would be amazing too, another thing. I'm not really sure what the world has for me if I get to live that long, or like where my will is, or who's gonna invest in me, or who's gonna believe in me and continue to help me grow and expand and push the intention of love to like basically everyone that I can. So an example has been, ever been remembering back on a hard time and thinking it wasn't so bad? Or vice versa, and even like in the moment you remember it was such a horrible time, but somehow when you look back it's like, that really wasn't so bad. I see things differently now. But at the same time, I can't even lie. That's what happened to me. Straight up, 27 years ago, like I would have never told you this message. If you would have told me I'd be having possums, or that I'd be a webcam model, or that I'd be in movies, horror movies, or that I'd be a professional wrestler, or that I'd be like anything. I don't know, man. I don't know, like maybe I just didn't have any confidence, no pride, no ego at the time. I didn't even know I don't know. Like, I can't even explain it. Oh, man. So, anyway, I just want to go on and mention how you, like, have to notice purposely, like, keeping the self distracted, like, and how you try to forget and cope to better things in the now, and, like, how your story changes. So yeah, again, my story completely changed. Like, look where I am. Oh yeah, the main thing is me talking about God. That's like another thing that Trina just normally wouldn't have ever talked about, because she had some really traumatic experiences that happened going to the church where they spit on a pizza and in a Gatorade and said, would you still want this? Representing insemination after I had already suffered traumatic experiences. Man, there's a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of good stories though too, you know? It depends on what side of the spectrum are you looking at it. Are you looking at it? Or are you it? Do you fully understand it? Which particle are you? Do you care? Are you attached? What's up? Who are you? So basically it's all about, yeah, how we like to make ourselves feel better in the now, like instantly. Instant gratification, like monkey mind, ego, beast, cardinal beast inside of you. I am that I am. Who are you? Exactly. Which are you? Shadow? Are you allowing fear to work through you? Are you a monster? Are you a fear monster? Or are you a happy, God-loving soldier? I can't help but think of psychopathic soldiers. You know, I hear that right now because I went to go see Grandma earlier. And my secret about my grandma is that she suffered from colitis attacks. And she worked for Publix for a long time, which is a big like grocery store in Florida. I know it's not all over the universe or whatever. So, like, you could get disability if you were an alcoholic there. But if you're going, you know, caca on yourself, they don't care. They don't care. But they're a grocery store, and they're the ones that sold to you the aluminum in your root beer, the BPA in your root beer. They sold you your chocolate that's ruining your whole system. That's the stuff that makes Grandma go. And the dairy. Nobody wants to care and pay attention to your nervous system. We know that there's like, what, 4 different blood types? And isn't there like 4 different types of skull types? Pay attention, the 4 fathers, there's something weird going on. Something weird going on, you gotta pay attention. And maybe there's more and just like all the giant skulls are gone, exactly, because they just buried everything they don't want you to know. The knowledge, it's power. And with great power comes great responsibility, so you gotta protect. But it doesn't seem like they're really protecting and serving the planet, you know? Like the frequencies are kind of getting out of control. You see the Georgia Guidestones. You see the intentions. They have the power to stop people killing each other for water. They have the power for all these things, but they show you who runs the world. Where's the money go? Pay attention. You know something that I noticed? Apparently in the Bible, they talk about where you're not supposed to go to church. You're supposed to pray in the closet, and your relationship's supposed to be very private. And Spirit's always been that way with me. God, I am they. I am the light of my soul. I am beautiful. I am bountiful. I am bliss. I am. I am. They love when we chant. We love when they sing. The birds are singing. They're so happy. I love connecting to Pachamama and Father Breath. Sometimes it's hard. Because, yeah, there's like nanoparticles in the sky and chemtrails. I mean, like, you know what you're doing to the planet. You know that the oxygen is losing oxygen, or excuse me, the ocean is losing oxygen, and is like all toxic gases of Fukushima. And you know that they're putting sonar underneath the water, and that's hurting all the animals. So what's the equal reaction? You know, if you guys have the power to do this, why don't you put healing sounds in? Why did all the music on the radio change? Why was it all major key, which is all happy, harmonious, and then it switched to minor key? There's something about music. There's a reason why Plato wanted, even back then, to like patent music, because music brings everyone together and everyone remembers the songs. There's a reason why they're putting all the money in certain places. Who runs the world? The Federal Reserve, right? Cryptocurrency, or like you just want to pretend like that's not a thing. Some people say the Illuminati, the all-seeing eye. But in my opinion, that eye, oh man, in my opinion, it represents the pineal. DMT, all kinds of different things I hear when I connect to that energy. The all-seeing eye. There's a lot of movies and stuff that show symbolisms like this. Now, I believe in attitude. Attitude. Your attitude about it. The behaviors can be a subconscious, unspoken language itself. If you pay attention. Oh my God, I'm sorry, this is so long. I can't breathe. If you pay attention, especially if in denial, you can choose to heal. Once accepting the truth, you know, knowledge isn't free. You have to pay attention. I believe that's a Bob Marley quote. How long shall they kill our prophets? While we stand aside and look. Some say it's just a part of this. We've got to fulfill the books. Won't you help to sing the songs of freedom? You can choose. You can choose to change the future. It just chooses to change in you, to see these things, to love instead of hate. Accept what is as is without trying to change it yourself. Everything's natural. Natural. Return to what's natural. You know we changed all the food? Do you know that we changed all the food? The bananas that we have right now are not the right bananas. They're not the old bananas. Carrots aren't the old carrots. Everything's changed. We've been doing this forever. Forever. A lot of people know this stuff. You know, you got to pay attention. It's unfortunate. Did you know trees can talk to each other? Did you know that they give each other just enough space so they can grow and they can breathe? They literally have that science of communicating through the roots. It's pretty fascinating if you do your homework. There's no telling me that there's no life in that and that it can't feel, okay? This is a conscious living planet, a vibrating thing, and there is a force of nature going on. Yeah, you have to acknowledge, you know, act upon knowledge. I hear Uncle Frank, he's like, I just turned the lights on. I love that quote. It's one of my greatest people that has touched my life. My bruh. I gotta give a shout out to Insane Clown Posse. You know, I know that they are considered a huge most hated band in America and all kinds of different stuff like that. You know, but they're just clowns, and I understand their intention about returning to that childlike innocence after being tainted and traumatized and abused. And I use the music as a weapon. Yeah, like basically against myself, I'll admit, like it's probably not so good to listen to that stuff over and over again sometimes, but at the same time, it helps. Okay. Oh man, thank you. Oh man. Yeah, so let me keep going and stay focused here. We remain attached to happy and sad stories and can't be in the here and now. I can't believe that's timing. Can't make up that timing that just happened. This just makes me stop. Is this a joke? This is not a joke. That's what's sad. This is my life. Excuse me. Hey, maybe if I cough, I can breathe again. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe everybody else is having a hard time breathing. Like, it feels like we're like suffocating in here. Like, are we in a dome? Why is it in every religious scripture all about that? I do not want to believe that. Do not even talk about that to me, okay? But I don't even like hearing that. But unfortunately, that might be something that might be going on if you pay attention, like to, what's his name? Wernher von Braun, I don't know, the rocket scientist that basically went on and has on his grave the scripture from the Bible of the firmament. Rocket scientist, Nazi Germany, What about William Cooper? Behold a pale horse, behold a pale white horse. Do your homework. He was killed, he worked for the government. He was an official agent, official person. They killed him. He predicted 9/11 like 90 days before it happened. And then they went and got him like 90 days later or something like that. My dad told me that story. I gotta say thanks to my dad, man. I would not be able to see and so conscious and knowing without the thanks of his sacrifice of using his whole life to just study and just find his passion and be himself. He was just so unique, and that's kind of definitely how I became me, and I hope find me too by him finding himself. This can all lead to excessive health issues as a reflection of spirits that need assistance. I have personally chosen to use my life and to assist others with the earth's transition in their personal journey. The fear and avoidance will only cause more suffering. Neglect is a form of abuse. Please look that up on Wikipedia. Neglect. Now, ignorance is not knowing, while stupidity can't be taught or unwilling to learn. I learned that one from Uncle Frank. The belief systems will create the realities. They are buried in the subconscious. These become contracts, unspoken repetitive patterns, generational curses, Akashic records, genetic memory, quantum mechanics, spin pair, parallel realities from just a thought, Mandela effect, all these things. What you may not realize is that what you may not realize that I am inhaling your exhalation. So are the plants. We are breathing in their exhalation. Everything, we're all sharing breath, whether you want to like accept that or not. We are supposed to love. We all share breath and sun. Have you ever noticed how they worship the sun? Pay attention. Astronomy. People are like plants. People are like plants. HECG, the 4 bottom nucleosides that says that we have the same mother. Again, you know, we are all each plants, and as you know, some plants just can't grow together. Like one roots will suffocate the other roots. It doesn't make it bad. It's just they need space. Harmony. Balance. It doesn't make them bad. And they're life. They're life. You have to respect the life. The individuality, the name, the sacred name that is holy. Pure. Pure. Holy. Trina. Yes. Let me stay focused. Stay focused, Trina. So basically you have to show love. And the way that you love is you fully accept. Good, bad, no stories. Unconditional love. No if this, or I'll accept you if this. No ifs, no buts, nothing. Nothing. True. No lies, no secrets, no hiding, no denial. You gotta show love. You don't pick a flower. Right? If you really love the plant, you don't pick the flower. You let it bloom. You let it keep growing. You give it a chance to do what it chooses to do. And if it chooses to come bloom by you, then so be it. But make sure that it has its divine will and that you're not manipulating the forces of nature using the tools that you know that can also be weapons. Pay attention. Such as kindness. You ever have people that pretend to be kind? Or people that just won't, like, you know, reach out? You think that they're your friend, but they don't ever reach out, or they're not there for you. They say that they'll be there for you, and every time you say, like, I need somebody, you're alone. I hear a PS, I love you. If we're all alone, we're all together in that too. There's no telling me we're not all together in this. We're all sharing the breath. How can you keep trying to tell the same stupid story? It's ignorance. I don't understand. So you have to have unconditional love and space for them to feel and be themselves, their individual self. Experience themselves how they choose to experience themselves. Now, conscious of it or not, the subconscious absorbs 100% of everything, and it hears the experiences, and everything it hears and experiences. And oh, nice snake. Oh, you're awesome. We gotta look into that. More snakes. Grab me snakes. Don't let them kill me. I just want to have kids and just like keep doing what I'm doing. Now, we believe everything that we think, feel, and experience with our senses. Conscious of this or not, it's the truth, my loves. We become a reflection of all that we have gathered and everyone we met, etc. The us we are conscious of and the parts that we kept, parts of other people that live on through us as us. We have our unconscious and opposite shadow self, the dark parts, unseen, unconscious parts we don't like about us or that we are taught to believe are bad and that we may reject. We create this wedge of judgment upon the self and others. We become fragmented, cognitive dissonant mass, narrators, and compartmentalized beings to feel good about our story. It's a form of safety. Stories that help us sleep at night after our experiences and witnesses. In my own words, I'd say that we all have to be treated like, we all have been treated like conditioned animals, as stated before. One example of this is how few men have basic survival skills to live off the earth instead of the conditioned normal forms of entertainment and even eating meat at a restaurant and being versus the universal useful self-development, being able to have true survival skills, true health, true balance and harmony of the tree. Religious texts refer to man as the wisdom and female as the heart. We all have both parts. Females are also said to be the property of the negative charge or the darkness, but the negative is the energy which vibrates the darkness so that movement can happen to receive the light in people. This energy is emotional energy. These words are understood, inspired, and formed from thanks to the right use of will book. We all have a dominant animal, subconscious, autopilot, automatic, ego natural response that feels comfortable. Now, we also have the more heart-ruled, conscious, loving inner language from the consciousness. Some of our people on earth call our feelings the heart of God, or the home of the spirit, the guilty conscience. Some people are very in tune with their emotions, and some even with animals and nature too. I'm like, I just don't want that snake to jump at us. Some people intentionally turn these lights off and sensors inside themselves off, like they don't want to know what's going on with the animals. They don't want to get to know nature. They don't want to show love and compassion, create space. Now they want to kill and destroy because they don't understand why it's here, and they're too scared. Now, the male energies are more associated with the action, planting seeds of protection and destroy if needed, supporting and help taking care of the femme. I also understand the quantum mechanics why some souls identify more with the opposite sex. I personally understand this has past lives and the denial of will of the parents, and we are a creation of the energies formed during that session of lovemaking. I also have a belief system that they've been messing, again, with the genetics of mankind by, like, bestiality being legal in so many states in America, and all this eugenic. You can check the laws, okay? Now, we are literally carbon copies of our family. I'd be lying if I didn't include the scientific information about chemicals, you know, changing the sexes of the creatures. Such examples of this is in birth control and in fish, making them into asexual creatures, or should I say androgynous, like where they have both parts. The studies done on frogs for pesticide used on all plants, which is atrazine. And also they're using BPA, which is like on the inner lining of aluminum cans and things like that, that also is known to cause those effects of basically demasculization or like over masculine energy for female energies. I believe this is connected to the Georgia Guidestones, the intention of lowering the population because the energy is basically out of control, and I'm not really sure other than that, like that's the only thing I can understand, that there's like a lot of people that are hateful, and that just like there's no balance, and everyone's just like not creating as they're supposed to, and plus they seem to be like fully tuned out, like they don't even know the truth of like what's the difference is. Some people kill spirit, like their own spirit or other spirits, right? Like even the bugs, with negative language, harmful substances, belief systems. Witnessing this inside myself then brought a desire to balance the polarities of the self, to be in harmony with the self, to have a good story, to be light in heart, to remove expectations, controlling my animal-like behavior in a way that's good for me and the collective whole. This goes back to ancient beliefs that men are extensions of gods and supposed to be angels. Basic Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Revelations 1:26. I'm 2:26. I had to look at the month before me. The rule is that man was given the power to rule all over the fish, the livestock, and all that creepeth. And I promise you that I believe that man had watched the animals for far too long and allowed the self to be turned into carnal beast. You know, the rule, to rule, does not mean to like dominate, kill, and destroy. It's mean to like nurture, keep growing, keep contained, you know, use, like you need them to fertilize the earth, and just everything's a co-creation that no one seems to really understand. So we turned into carnal beasts, and then they started to rule over other people and starting controlling, using violent tactics. And to achieve, basically man originally was given the gift of consciousness, you know, to be able to think and to be able to like respond differently. Like he can notice like, oh man, there's a snake, but instead of killing it, he can realize like, oh, I can just walk away, instead of just like what is happening? You have the consciousness, you can just think and feel and be with yourself for just a moment. Yet also filled with consciousness and the ability to respond with loving thought and intent and will. Now, in order to understand this best, it would help to point out the difference of polarities. Polarities are opposites that naturally are attracted to the other, like magnetic forces in some cultures. This is described as yin and yang energy, yin, dark, and female, and male, white, yang. Other forms of polarities include the difference between friends and enemies, light and dark, boys and girls, opposites. You know, I have to admit, like, if it wasn't for the people trying to tell me all the time, like, you know, who I'm supposed to be or what I should do, I wouldn't hear my own inner voice so loud, so it kind of helped me find myself. Now, what you may not see or understand is that the yin-yang is not, like, separate. It's one same thing as a balance, as I stated before. Good and evil, without knowing the shadow, you couldn't tell the difference, and sometimes the enemies can be useful to us, you know? So sometimes the enemy can bully us, like maybe they're so mean, but because someone was so mean to us, we were always so nice to everybody. So at least something maybe good came out of it, and you can see the power of being that kind of person and purifying the heart. You understand it's all through the breath and the heart and getting the blood moving. Those three things. You know, we only own our bodies. It's the only thing that we're allowed to own and take with us anywhere. And even then, it's not ours because it stays here on earth, right? And we know that this body is not my home. They chant that stuff all the time. So keep that in mind. There's something more important for that too. No matter can be created or destroyed. You know, I mean, it goes so deep. I'm just like, I'm going to try to finish this. I'm so sorry. I would love to go into it personally with you. If you have time and you'd like to pay me for my time and negotiate, I can go in further. Let me keep going here. So I'd like to mention, if there were ever truly dragons and giants, I imagine surely man is the God that destroyed all out of fear. Some people believe in a punishing God, and those who hold on to these dark thoughts and emotions and allow themselves to turn into that very same God that punishes themselves and others. This devil could be you, subconsciously believing that you deserve to suffer and be unhappy. Misery loves company. From my understanding from the religious friends, the devil sneaks in uninvited, ego, shadow, warrior, protect, and God has to be invited in. Now, these false belief systems are the subconscious intentions that create this into truth. These ideas pull you away from your center and may come from outside influence. Sometimes it's the subconscious attempting to heal the self by recreating past traumas in order to finally address what's been kept secret, to even at times to the self. Sometimes we focus so much on what we are afraid of, we draw ourselves to it and make it happen, and to ourselves and others. Just a thought can change everything. Again, Mandela effect. These fears become habitual patterns, behavioral responses, conditioned things that just come naturally. It's subconscious. Just eat that all the time, do this all the time. Now, we believe we can't quit additional subconscious belief systems. Can actually be a belief that you aren't worthy, which expresses itself that you don't give yourself permission. You don't even try. You create the reality. Other forms of this is socially acceptable forms of self-destruction, such as self-doubt, hating on the self, self-destruction, drinking, smoking, Like the girls, yeah, like how we're taught to like do additional things to our body, like nails, eyebrows, pull this, do that, cut this out, put that there. Like, I just don't think that's right. And like basically defacing the natural, the way that we are naturally made to show and symbolize the way that our health is. You know, my dad kind of talked a lot about cultural influences and the view of beauty. Like some people in like, you know, I guess like in, I'm not even sure, other places of the world, but basically where they had the neck development, where it was important to like do that, and that was your prestigious, that culture really thought that was beautiful. And just like our culture believes that makeup and all these cosmetics is really what's beautiful, but it's all been marketed to us through Edward Bernays. I'll get a little bit more into that later. So I can't help but think it's intentional by all the media to tell live vision and predicted programming that like they're ruining the feminine image and they're ruining all these things. Like remember, it's been like in movies, especially like young little kid movies, like I want to say like some Adam Sandler movies, or like I'm not even sure where I've seen this, but like Silence of the Lambs maybe, where you see the men dressed up as women and like they're trying to basically make a mockery or make sure that everybody sees this in these like movies that also kids are in, and all these like subconscious things, like swimming in the lagoon. Like there's all this stuff, and like I understand in other countries it's okay with the children and things like that, but we also are so intelligent now that we understand the mind and how long it takes to form. We know about the Saturn's return. We know about all these things. It's common for people to be afraid of what they do not understand. I hear Dave Matthews, if you never flew, why would you cut off the wings of a butterfly? If Martians fell from the sky, what would that do to God? Would we put the weapons down or aim them up at the sky? The number one man fears and runs away from the most is himself. In order to fully heal, and man will have to know himself or herself, meaning to accept thyself. Man's been searching his whole life for the enemy. When he looks in the mirror, he finds it's him. You have the power to change your conscious thinking and feeling and intention and focus. They say where attention goes, energy flows. However, man has only been focused on everything but himself, assuming that he is separate, while simultaneously attempting to control and change all these judgments and attachment to and expectations is the error. It is not of man, or it is of man, not God, or natural law of Mother Earth, you know, like all of that shadowy judgment saying that this isn't right, this doesn't go there, like that's not right. It's like man's creation. Man's the one who's like creating all these things that's creating harm consciously and just like almost unconsciously, just not paying attention to the future or caring, you know, because they might think that they're going to another planet, or who knows what the heck they're thinking. Now we all share breath, and personally my only God and religion is love. It's omnipresent and a collective consciousness that's in all things. So whether you like each other or not, and you're conscious of it or not, we're all sharing the breath. Just be nice. I'm breathing in your exhalation and like all of that all the time. And it's just passing around all through the universe. We're a vibrating Gaia energy. To me, it's easy for man to hate and not know and understand. And it's most difficult to fully love and to understand all things. I was originally taught as a little kid that you're supposed to do the harder thing, do the hard way. Anybody can do the easy way and cheat and sneak, you know? Why not show love? Show yourself some love. It is scientifically known that a baby will die if it is not loved. While some of us may hate ourselves or our whole family, our lives, etc., very clearly we were loved enough to be alive right now. I learned this from Mother Aya. Yeah, to be alive right now. And if we know this scientifically, by the way, in case you don't know that, you can look up studies how babies will die if they don't receive the love, if they're not held. They did tons of scientific studies on this. And if we can muster the love and energy to nurture ourselves, you know, after we've made it this far, basically we can expand further. However, the price of life is never free and is a constant equal energetic exchange. We pay the price of life with how we choose to spend our time. Are you paying the price of life with your tears and living for other people? Or however you choose to spend your time, life's too short, we're all limited. Or at least that's what they told us, so these subconscious belief systems could even affect us, even if that's not the reality. So I'm supposed to mention about how the sun is 8 minutes away, so it takes 8 minutes for the sunlight to get to us. But then if that's true, if we have like a Hubble telescope, couldn't we go backwards and look into here to look into the past? I think so. Sounds right. Now, Is it worth it? The way that you're spending your time? Are you happy? Are you really choosing to give yourself permission to do everything to make yourself happy? Are you living to be a slave for other people? Or like, what are you choosing? Are you slave to your own emotions? Are you slave to your will? Are you slave to your ego? Are you paying attention what energy is working through you as you? What side of the force are you on, man? What kind of force of nature are you? Are you happy? Are you peaceful? Are you joking? Are you lying? Are you masking? Are you in denial? Pay attention. Listen to the feelings. They are a language within themselves. Do you notice how you have the power to choose how you spend your time? Do you also recognize how you have the power to choose how you narrate that? If you're going to keep having negative thoughts, you're just going to let yourself keep talking bad to yourself in your own head, or are you going to talk back to that? Are you going to have the will to conquer that obstacle and to talk back and say, oh yeah, watch this? And sometimes, you know, people who don't try never fail. You ever notice that? What is the way that you narrate your own story? Is it a good story or a sad story? Are you going to change the story? Do you accept your powerful role in the now? Do you see you have the ability to be a co-creation? For me, remember, my pain is my paycheck. If I had become so rich with experience, I had become so, yeah, I'm reading bad. I can't read. I'm bad at this. I'm really bad at this. I had become so rich with experience and know-how of being able to cope with common human sufferings and get out of them, how to be with them without them tearing me apart, being able to think about them without feeling like horrible, without wanting to like explode or like just not be here. Like, it was so hard to process, and to be with those things, to be able to keep breathing and keep going, keep moving. God, I just wanted to break down crying, just never do it. Like, it was just so awful, right? Well, basically, some lessons I'm still paying the price for, and I investigate myself constantly. I'm constantly developing myself into my favorite version of myself. You know, I hear Lee in my head. He says, you'll never know what Trina wants or what Trina is capable of if you keep doing what they want, if you keep listening to what they say. He also says this other thing, like, you know, where our weak spots, we gotta make our strongest points. We can't just ignore and be like, no, I don't have that problem, I swear. The problem's not gonna go away. It's gonna like snowball, right? So, some of my personal troubles or shadows were with self-worth, self-value, self-doubt, singing, self-expression, disease, injury, seen and unseen, sexual abuse, self-punishment, self-harm, bloodletting, drinking, smoking, haircut, I dyed my hair, makeup, older men, findom, BDSM, blacking out. I black out in the wrestling ring all the time, violence, ignorance, getting to know the self, denial, suicidal thoughts, horror, darker self, with like the goth, the BDSM, like I know that's twice, but yes, it's the shadows. It's like somehow the BDSM became a therapeutic outlet for me because like, yeah, when I was a kid, I guess like back then, like I'm like, am I supposed to say the word spanking? I mean, I want to be honest, like that was the thing. And like now, like your kid can abuse you if you can't discipline your kid anymore, you know? But my dad pointed out how suddenly, like, look at his generation, they know how to behave. So it's just the military is just gonna have to get involved and just like control the people and make us all go one way, one behavior, one kind of person. I'm not a fan of that, man. That sounds like martial law. Walmart, martial law. Struggle. I also struggle with simple things like hair brushing and teeth and rejecting my inner feminine tomboy. I had a war with my mom. There's secrets. I was obsessed with being a goddess because I've been treated so badly, so I wanted to pretend and just like feel like I'm something so much more than what I was treated and like my family was treated and all the things that I could feel and be. Now, I was obsessed with inherently dangerous activity, like any type of risk and fire breathing and just like adrenaline. Like I was totally addicted to adrenaline, probably because of my family's addictions with drugs for sure. You know, there's so much more I'm about to get into here. I'm so close here. Risk, danger, and adventure, singing. Some parts of the shadow aren't all bad. Like when I was little, my brother used to make fun of me, and he said this thing while I was singing a song. He's like, who sings this song? And I was like, Ja Rule and J-Lo. And he's like, let's keep it that way. And I was like, and I never sang again. And now like singing has been like so therapeutic for me to finally like find my voice. And like I kind of like communicated a lot non-verbally, like in a book and like sign language and painting and a lot of non-verbal ways since like apparently my voice was bad. I lost a part of myself then, I guess, and like I did the same thing when I got into my skateboard accident, when I think that was one of the first times that I experienced my empath gifts, where somebody I think that I have this conspiracy or coincidence theory that maybe somebody had a negative thought that saw me, the only girl on the half pipe, on a 16-foot half pipe at City Streets, that like something bad was going to happen to her. And maybe I felt their fear and their emotion, and I put my foot down. I allowed that thought to become true. I processed it as my own. I put my foot down, whoosh, shattered my ankle, and now I have metal hardware. Yeah, so I lost a huge part of myself. I was a huge skater. I'm still a huge skater, but still, like, yeah, I gotta keep moving. Otherwise, there's problems, and I might have to have surgery. And there's a lot of, like, issues, right? Did you know healthcare is the #3 source of income for the United States of America? Now, you can't give what isn't yours. You can't give from an empty cup. I can only speak from my own experience in my own life. Uncle Frank. Some of those quotes are some other famous people quotes. What parts of you do you ignore and deny? Are there parts you wish to change? Why? I started noticing some of my unconscious behaviors by paying attention and mindfulness. I did an exercise I don't recommend, basically where I was going inside myself in the deepest, darkest places I can remember. I hear a quote, "The dark place is a terrible, terrible place. It's a place where the soul and mind goes while your body lies in agony on the earth." I had to like re-narrate that song and change that into a positive message. I'm still working on that using all my chants of devotion. So when I did that, I basically went to like one of the most traumatic things because I kept blacking stuff out. I kept noticing that I kept forgetting, and like, yeah, like it was like MK Ultra brainwashing kind of thing, or like I don't know if it was the chemicals in the food, the yellow sticks. I'm not really sure what was going on, but like I decided to go within myself, and I did my homework, and like basically like I was reminded that my sexual abuse, that like when I woke up from someone touching me in my sleep, that basically like the blood there was like me losing my V, and like, oh, it was a lot. And like you always think that you're gonna do something, but I froze, and like in my sleep it did feel good. I can't lie, like I'd never experienced that before, but like there's just all these things going on, and just like, oh, it's just so bad. But like I'm getting through it. His name was Ariel. That's why I kind of hate the Little Mermaid. And there's also a subconscious reason why I became a mermaid, because I wanted to make kids believe, because I wanted the children who had traumatic childhoods to have an escape. And so I kind of took the money from the webcam world and I purchased the mermaid tail. And then Inside Edition kind of publicly humiliated me, how I had done the polarities of basically like trying to work for Playboy, Miss Social, and non-nude. Miss October. I loved horror. I wanted to be a horror movie star. Like I don't even know like who, like me. I don't know. I was just a kid. I just wanted to like be important and to feel special and to not feel like I was here for nothing. I just wanted to see the world. So I heard that after I did that session that there was a chance I wouldn't have come out of there. So she told me, this person, when I was doing readings at the museum, they told me that I shouldn't have done that, and that basically there's a huge chance I couldn't come out. So you have to be careful of that stuff, okay? Working through your subconscious, it's like a lot. After noticing issues, I became interested in healing and releasing the shadow and integrating working with Heather in St. Augustine sphere to become a Reiki master and an empath. Excuse me, I would hire her for her empathic coaching. And by me doing that, like her having my gifts, I had received some of that information. Basically from connecting energy, by her sharing space and information. We also did spinal cord unwinding. I highly recommend that. It's basically all about moving. I kind of do some of my own stuff now, but I do love hiring people still and trading services for these amazing integrations. Now my shadow also led me to QHHT, which means Quantum Healing Hypnotherapy. And I also got an Akashic record reading from 2 different people to kind of find out like, well, what planet am I from, or what's going on? What's the story here? You tell me what's going on. It was really amazing. And through one of them, I actually ended up doing QHHT through the Akashic Records things. That's, oh man, I'm not even hearing their names, but if you really want to know, I'll hook you up with that too. I do not lie. So, basically, due to my subconscious programming of like non-unconditional loving of self, you know, I had like a lot of those shadows. It led to the idea of all forms of release, you know, after I'd realized like, oh, there's an alternative option. How do I let this stuff go that I've been so upset about? You know, I started thinking about all the different forms. So it's like movement, dancing, crying, going to the bathroom, vomiting, laughter. There's so many different ways that we can release and like move the energy, swimming, like all non-verbal stuff. This goes back to a story that's about a psychiatrist who I did reading for, who told me that when we go through trauma, when you go through sexual abuse, it goes to the non-verbal side of the brain. So the way that you heal and you integrate that is you have to express in a non-verbal way. And a lot of times it helps to do the art when the trauma happened. So for me, I was a writer. and my trauma happened around then, or another trauma did, and my mom used to always go through my diary and read my diary, so I shut down and I started lying inside all of my books because I felt like all my spaces, even my thoughts were invaded. I was judged for my thoughts and assumed that I was bad. It made me hate me because I wasn't her and she didn't understand how different I was. Now, I did this ayahuasca thing, this ceremony in Peru with my dad. It's for trauma. It is DMT, however, it's not stolen from the cat. Like, I believe the Egyptians really worship the cat because the cat has DMT. And I think it's something to do with Sirius and a lot of other stuff too. And I think that exactly, dog is man's best friend, and like, exactly, there's something going on with Horus, Set, and, oh man, Osiris, Horus, and Set. Now, oh man, I'm zooming in too much. I decided right then and there in Peru that I wanted to continue my path of healing, and that most of all I wanted to be a shamanic healer. I wanted to use like chanting, I wanted to use like Mother Earth natural remedies, natural foods, just like when I was a kid. I was really passionate about these things. I had some like personal messages, like, you know, reminding me that I was a Cherokee Indian and that like they wanted me to put that on shine basically and just remember who I was, to re-become one with myself. I had personal messages from Mother Aya that gave me goosebumps. The first message is that she gave me was that I was very foolish for being so selfish and ignorant, for constantly searching for a partner. Meanwhile, Mother Earth had been holding me all that time, giving me exactly the space that I needed to grow, to understand, and to be of service to the whole. And myself, even on a subconscious level, as if it was written in stone of my bone, as Heather calls it. Like an unspoken contract before coming into this planet and choosing my family and my name. Now in QHHT, I learned that I had experienced 2,733 lives. I came here as a dog, and I came here to experience love. And apparently I hear that my name might have been Frido. And I've looked up, you know, the name meaning. It's pretty fascinating. Or I also heard from other readers, the Akashic records, that I'm from Sirius Dog Star, and that was one of my main points, along with Procyon, which supposedly is in quarantine. I can no longer go back, and it's like all about absorbing the sun, and our soul group is very rare, and there's all these different things. And then like when she connected to my records, I was also guided that basically I had explored everywhere in the galaxy. I'm not sure, you know, if that's just a story, but it's kind of fun to just kind of interesting to look into. You know, there's a lot of stuff into that. So basically, like QHHT, it led me into like, I can't even lie, like other hypnosis. I was definitely interested in ASMR and all those like positive influences on kind of like how to like do like MK Ultra for good. Like, you know, if I could like repair Britney Spears and remind her like how wonderful she is and connect with her true people that really love her, I would love to be of service. Now, the QHHT led me to meditation, and the type of meditation that, okay, QHHT is a guided meditation, but we also have Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra, it's kind of like, it's almost like, it's very similar. It's very similar. I encourage you to check it on YouTube. It's not what you think about. It's like you do Savasana the entire time. It's like a guided meditation inside yourself. It's very helpful. I'm sorry I don't know anymore. I would love to do like homework and to like go to school to really learn more about this, so I'm not like, I'm just trying to share with you some things that just really touched my life. You know, it helped me access inside myself, like by accessing my breath, and allowed me to let go and heal these bodily releases by like learning how to professionally relax. You know, I never learned how to sit still. As you can tell, this video's been going forever. Mother Aya has also reminded me how my children would be my offering to the planet. And when I am no longer, and then she quickly reminded me how I was my mother's offering, and to honor me the way I have loved every man that allowed me to. That I needed to give myself that same equal energetic love, which I gained all the love that I am from my grandma Candy and my mom. There were shadows of this, like not knowing boundaries of the self, and overgiving and not saying no. I was a psychic as a kid and would see spirits, dark spirits that were after my soul, but my soul was freaked out and my parents weren't too comfortable with it. And the school couldn't handle me, and in 2nd grade they told my mom that she needed to put me on prescription drugs because basically if she wasn't, if I was a diabetic and she didn't believe in needles, would she not give me my insulin? They literally manipulated her into psychoactively controlling me through the school system, so I feel like they got me that way. You know, I decided right then and there, after I'd gone through a personal, I decided to quit my medication when I was like 16 years old. It was Adderall. I quit cold turkey, I'll admit. I was really focused, I was really balanced, but then I learned it was like crystal meth, and every 12 hours it would wear off and it would make me really irritable and even really mean to my mom. And like, I decided right then and there I wanted to go to school for psychiatry with holistic medicine. But this would later change due to meeting a boyfriend whose grandma trolled me, asking me if I would allow my clients to smoke. They would be allowed to have marijuana as a treatment. And look how the world's changed. Do you ever notice that? Like how it used to be completely illegal, but now that they make their own and they do all this, you know, they alter the specimen, that suddenly, oh yeah, you can have it now. Kind of like the food, right? I rejected, so smoking symbolizes my neglecting of my breath, inherited from my family. My mom smoked cigarettes. I'm always asking her to stop. My dad used to smoke cigarettes. I had secondhand smoke growing up in the house, so I had like bronchial issues. I had a lot of like smothering. My mom like smothered me with love so hard, and my dad was like gave me such free spirit. So it's funny, their polarities and how it made me. So I rejected many parts of my family, and I even ended up tearing myself away to find me, like up in St. Augustine, and to love me and to like be alone with me and kind of discover myself. And to prepare myself for when they are no longer here, because I was really scared. Like when my family dies, like that's it. Those 3 people, I'm done. I don't know anybody. I'm free. There's no anchor. And part of it's scary, but part of it's really exciting. I am hopeful to build a family and to have a child. And as I've stated many times before, I believe I have found the person that I have met. And what's meant to be. If I understand you may not believe in that thing, remember Lenin said it is my truth, and I accept my truth. So basically, yeah, I was taught to never tell anyone about the stigma of the disease. And that's because like you weren't allowed to rent like apartments that people thought you would get from toilets, from drinking cups, and from like you weren't allowed to be a pilot. There's a lot of different things like that. I can't help but think of Gallica. You know, I grew up really afraid to lose my dad and to be alone, so I sought love. I was looking to basically replace my dad and find another guy. When I had realized that, I realized that all the other guys that had messed with us were basically like worthless. Like I was just like, they're not my dad. Sorry to all the guys that I just said that to, but literally like my dad, can you just at least respect and honor my dad? You'll be a dad one day if you choose, you know, if you choose to be loving and understanding. Don't you know? Don't you know women love that? Oh yeah, we love the sweetness, the chivalry. Where do you think that went? I wonder if that has anything to do with divide and conquer. Excuse me. Now, everyone would also think that I would have it. So, like, you couldn't tell anybody because they automatically thought that you had it. And it was just like, it's awful. Awful stigma. I can only imagine how, like, upset, like, my brother was, like, losing his dad, you know? I hear my brother in my head. Like, when you love someone and you love something, you don't let horrible stuff go down without opposition. When I stop complaining at you is when I stop caring. If I didn't care, I'd just say, all right, smoke cigarettes, cheat on me. Go ahead, destroy the earth. But I care. So I'm going to tell you what I see that pains me, so hopefully that you will, like, you know, correct it. I seek to get the love that I never got. The touch from a man. The feelings, the intimate connections, the perfect forever unity. I swore that I could always feel this person underneath my skin my entire life, and it just was so nice when I finally felt like things had lined up. So it was kind of almost like one that my mom and my dad didn't have, because they didn't fully love and accept themselves, so they had accepted each other and they just like denied some stuff until like everything balanced out. So when I realized this at an older age, it made sense why I always went after older men and trying to heal the subconscious wounds. Now I also rejected my psychic stuff, and it left me to protect me. You understand that? Like, it had to go away out of protection. Like, it was just affecting me too much. I had to like I had to be normal, or whatever you want to say. Or like I trained myself, or who knows what happened. Electromagnetic frequencies thrown me off, I don't know. And basically, I had all my powers come back at the museum during like psychometry and messing around with like these ancient pieces. So I also started to do tarot there, where I had become comfortable with a way of using like something like physical to be a vessel for my psychic gifts, so I wouldn't basically freak people out so much by being myself. And like it was also mixed with something that I can hold. Like autism is very big on like touching stuff and like having intimate interaction and making it very personal. I've been working with singing bowls and crystals and movement, especially yoga. I'm strong supporter of the yamas and the niyamas. It's Sanskrit. I believe in seva. Seva is selfless service. Seva. That was close. See what just happened there? That was close. Do not believe that you are useless. You can be clean. You can be pure. You can choose to see the light. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to see the information. As long as there's sunlight, you'll have access. You will be able to uncoil your DNA. Now, working with your shadow never ends, and shadow and ego are different. They're like back to back to each other. They don't see each other. I hear Uncle Frank, I'm not afraid of it because I've lived through it. I'm just a tool. I'm God's monkey. And even a monkey can use a tool. You know, when he said that, I started thinking about drugs and medicines, the differences, the polarities, how something that can be good for somebody else could be horrible for somebody else. Remember those blood types, all that different stuff. And I started thinking about like how, yeah, medicines can be weapons in medicine, and how these tools can be used as either helpful aid or protection. Unseen blockages form of protection. Yeah. So what you don't know what goes on in the auric field is sometimes there's things that like come up as blockages and stuff. But like you can't just like force someone to just change, you know? Like these things, you have to understand they're there to speak a language and they're protecting the person's field. It's very, 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 very important. So it's in it's in your best interest for everyone to just be their individual blueprint and to not deny anyone themselves. I learned from Heather to let it speak and to find out what it wants for you. She taught that the process is coming up because it wants, I don't know if she taught that, but I was taught that the process is coming up because it wants to be released. We go through a breakup sometimes and we never process it. We stuff it down, and we go through a job loss, or like we just keep going, guys, stuff it down, never give ourselves permission to process. And basically it goes back to useful tools of being able to heal. You know, you can go for a walk. There's tons of exercises that you could do that we know that exercise is scientifically great for you. Do you ever wonder why we're like so kept out of that, and everyone's like taught that they can't be this, they won't be that? Where do you think that subconscious negative frequency comes from? For me personally, integrating the shadow meant honoring the parts of me that I hated and understanding them. You know, the Akashic Record crystal healing from Chantel had taught me about my warrior. I used to hate this version of me that was like so like vigorous and so adventurous, and then she called it my warrior instead of like my killer, you know, which are like the juggalo stuff. So it like really helped me heal, to be able to reflect on the other side. Like no one ever helped me, you know. So don't forget how we love each other. You got to see the me inside of you. And if you can't see me, you got to open up your heart and see something new. Don't forget about your self-rejection. Yeah, what you reject in others is what you reject in you. The illusion is that life is hell. Your thinking traps you. And I hear Uncle Frank, if you woke up in heaven, would you be humble enough to know it? My dad likes to joke, what if this is the Garden of Eden and we've just destroyed it? And that there's like a Luciferian council, and a fascinating story that if you'd like to hear what that really means, I'm about to get into that. Now, if you pay attention, clearly a dark force and a light force, right? There's two different forces of nature. Now the child version of me learned this as like devil and God, good and evil, right? Like we all learned that as a young age. I learned more about this from Diane, who owns Peaceful Spirit. She kind of had to break things down into two branches, fear and love, and there are things that stand out from those branches. Now, if the devil is fear, now if the devil is real, fear is the devil. The shadow in there are branches off of fear: self-doubt, hate, misunderstanding, violence, separation, ignorance, selfishness, ego, love, refinement, compassion, unity, enlightenment. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's the, sorry, I'm going too fast, but you hear that, the love stuff. That's the other side, the enlightenment, the wisdom, the understanding, the heart center. Are you serving the whole, or are you serving the separation? What side are you on? If you aren't serving your self-love, then a part of you dies when you don't show up. You need time to recharge your battery, to separate from everyone else and figure out what do you want? You always might be attaching to, you know, everybody else, like all trying to say that you have to do this for your kids, all this, conditions and limits. It's not true. It's all ego, shadow. It's no bueno. Not good. Now, you have to put your own mask on first when the airplane's going down, okay? You understand? You gotta take care of you, and then you got me. But if you're broken, you know, how can you help me? But are you also brave enough to tell people that you need help? That's the only way we're gonna come together. So, give people something to mirror. You know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. There's it, and then there's looking at it. You know, we never fully understand until we can stand under it. We can fully support it. We become it. Now there's negative and positive, opposites, polarities. We are electromagnetic beings. We are bioelectromagnetic generators, as John Zangreen says. Now we can only match or transfer the energy when we come into each other's spaces. There's cause and effect. There's seen and there's unseen. Tesla talks about how important it is for you to pay attention to the unseen forces of nature. There's also an amazing video on YouTube that you can see that's called The Science of Grounding. Don't ever forget spooky action at a distance, or the double slit experiment, quantum entanglement. That's why many of us feel like parts of us are missing, because of generational curses and holding back the children. Some of this calls this back to the original magic, you know, the Lemurian Atlantis, like the energy of the times, hence like all of those, like his stories, so many that we know. Everything is a spectrum, and time has changed everything. Judgment is the illusion, you know, the separation, the illusion that we are separate. Are you serving joy? Are you serving confusion? Listen to your feelings. Are you listening to what they're telling you? Are you listening to the language? For some, there are a war between the mind and the heart. The judgment is the wedge from the ego. Neglect reality attached to stories, and expectations and attachments, comfort from stories, and we avoid the truth and present moment with our thoughts. I'm sorry, like this is so messy. It will kill you, or deal with it later. Uncle Frank. What you shall allow shall continue. Be the change you want to see in the world. There are many parts of me that others don't accept, and parts that I even didn't accept. Medium, empath, psychic, BDSM, looks. As I grew up, and the more my shadows, I realized that they were my blessings. My sexual abuse allowed me to help women who are suffering from the same subconscious things. My sexual abuse also led to me putting like this version of me on stage. You know, I was a free spirit. You know, I opened up, and I didn't really think that there was anything wrong with us being born naked or anything like that. It was just like my conscious understanding at the time, but basically I realized on a subconscious level, I just desperately wanted like this part of me to be like really loved, you know, which probably stemmed from like the sexual abuse too. I dealt with my own personal family problems, financial struggles. Man, I dealt with a lot of struggles in the entertainment world, getting burned in so many ways that like I don't even want to talk about on camera. My sensitive abilities, you know, that's a gift and it's a curse. You know, it depends on how you're looking at it. I had a really negative mentality because I was surrounded by like poor mentality or shadow mentality, just because like where they grew up and how they knew the world, you know. My STD, man, my STD ended up being a beautiful, beautiful thing, like where it allowed me to connect with my central nervous system and understand that the virus takes over the vagus nerve, so I had to really control my stress. And when the virus goes off, each form of expression represents a different thing. Kind of like a lot of other illnesses, like depression is a like anger that you believe you don't deserve to have. There's a bunch of things like that. Mine is belief in a punishing God too, in the privates. This is from Louise Hay's Heal Your Body book. So also I had this goddess ego role, you know, like I was actually had a lot of insecurities, a lot of problems. So when I pretended, it kind of like helped me out a little bit, and it also like it helped me grow in a lot of ways. Pro wrestling, man, that was so therapeutic for me. I was like I was into self-harm and like you know, like getting beat up basically. So when I got into wrestling, it was like a therapeutic way to just release all this energy. But whenever I got on stage, I freeze up and I blacked out, just like the trauma. And it just basically kept re-expressing itself, and I would black out no matter how much I studied my stuff. I later on found out that I was Anubis, which is kind of like a dog. And apparently he weighs the heart when you die, making sure that you're light in heart. So my name means pure, so I'm trying to like cleanse and purify, admit my wrongs, and recognize where I'm messing up all the time. So I just really want to be truthful all the time, just so I can stay good, you know? Now, I also started to learn that, you know, submissive is actually a form of dominance. While you think that, like, you being submissive is like, oh my God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that for this person, but really it just makes you super duper strong, because it takes a super strong person to carry, like, another strong person, you know? It's like back in the day when you had to go back to back with other people, and you're like, oh man, let me rest, let me go to sleep, and like, you're like, all right, I got you back, you sleep, I'll stay awake. So, also what comes up is like, yeah, the genetic memory that's passed down through the phantom DNA. I know I've mentioned that a couple times, but there's a study done with rats where the rats were electrocuted each time that they smelled cherries. So when the babies were born, the babies were reacting in fear even though they had never received the actual shock. I personally dealt with my own thing where my mom didn't get her license until she was about 30 years old. I did the same exact thing because I grew up afraid of being in control of my own life and my own purpose. Working with Heather, she did a lot of things on ancestral healing. She has a lot of really great stuff. She does have her own books. she talks a lot about the stone in your bone, and the way that I think about that is imagine how many people in your family had to make love until you had to be here. Like, how far back does your genetics go back? That's really cool to think about. Another shadow of mine is the last name is Mason, naturally drawn to magic and obsessed with the Illuminati and the mass global agenda of Agenda 21, maybe now 2030, with the Georgia Guidestones. And basically when I was a kid, I could smell the blood in the classroom of like another girl having her menstrual period, and it kind of just like really grossed me out. I was just in middle school and I could smell the iron, and it just blew my mind away that my senses were like that powerful. You know, I also found out that I was mixed with Scottish, you know, my dad, and then my Cherokee, Indian, German mom, so I'm kind of mixed with that. You know, like, what are the chances that it's almost like a perfect creation of like two polarities? I also really got into linguistics and spelling, abracadabra, what I speak I create, all the subconscious programming, Clockwork Orange, forcing people to see things into their retinas, you know. How about this, all money and the connection to water, money flow, river bank, current to the sea, currency, being underwater in debt, drowning in debt, float me alone, deposit slip, loan shark, water bank. And then we all know that Feng Shui, or traditional Chinese medicine, has tons of relations of showing the water to the money essence. Okay? Governmente means mind control. Look that up. 911, it means emergency. It's also, the Pentagon started the construction on 9/11, and the same day on 9/11, not that same day, but like, you know, the date, George Bush had his NWO speech. Now that also makes me think of Revelations 9/11 and how how America promotes the Roman agenda to divide and conquer and to rule over all of man. There's also a commercial with 9/11, Trump Towers commercial with like one of those mattress companies, and I promise you that the commercial, you know, do you really think that it's made to sell mattresses? They're sheep number 1, the president, sheep number 9, and sheep number 11 on the towers, and he says, "Where's your dignity?" It almost feels like they're making fun of us. I believe their intention is to play God, and I believe that's what's happening with AI. There's this new machine, it's called Q. It's from IBM, and IBM is now Big Think and used to be Big Blue, kind of like Big Brother. They also did this amazing article where it talked about recently where apparently the police all invaded Nikola Tesla's house after he had passed, and that they brought one person who wasn't a police force. Did you know that actually happened to be Donald Trump's uncle? That's pretty fascinating to me. Now, there's also a movie in it's called 2001 Space Odyssey movie about an AI system named HAL. HAL is one letter away from IBM. And not just that, but it's the symbols, the letters all before it, symbolizing pre-programming, okay? Now, Q is connecting all of these subconscious programmings. Q is linking Facebook, Q is linking Instagram, Q is linking everything that's on your phone. They're recording every single thing. They're reading the heat sensors in your fingers. They're reading the iridology, the pressures in your eye. That's why it's called an iPhone. Smart actually means painful. And all that information over the web that combines it into one computer. That is like the ultimate mother, Q. You can look into that. This is an actual system that's processing all this stuff. Now, our brains also work like computers with input and output energy, toroidal field vortexes that draws us to experiences, and the ability to create from substance from just a thought. It's connected to the Mandela effect, and the movie Stranger Than Fiction is very similar to that. I have this belief about my ankle, as I stated to you before. I'm willing to go deeper into all this, especially in privately booked sessions, for my time and energy. I apologize if I'm missing some of the important parts, as I am attempting to distill this and keep it simple and also like real, you know, like in the moment, not also just like reading from a script the entire time. I remember being a little girl and thinking, boy, if I could just be stupid, I wouldn't see or know, and I wouldn't be so pained and jaded by the dark truths. That equalized like our entire reality as we know it at this present time. I lost the interest in many men, being a sapiosexual and a demisexual myself, while also feeling as a kid that I would have more boys like me if I would just be like on their level. So sapiosexual means like I'm attracted to smart, like intelligence, and demisexual means that there has to be an emotional connection, okay? Otherwise, like I'm not interested. It has to be, I don't know, there has to be true unconditional love. Now, there's also another part of me that rejected my inner feminine because I had a genetic memory of the abuse of the women where they had their sacred parts raided and turned us into like super strong warriors because all these spots had been invaded. So of course the women are super strong and they can take a beating. Sports were formed as entertainment to distract the people while they did their thing in the Roman empires. Notice all the sports that were created from the Roman Empire. You can look that up too. Notice the worship of all the material. You know, there's so much materialism, and the belief that we can own the earth. You know, this land is my land, this land is your land. It's nobody's land. It's all of ours. The pure destruction that just constantly kept happening, that even in God's name. What a shame. Now, anyone who knows the love of God and the Spirit in man knows that it's not the will to harm anything unless, you know, near death. Recently, I had learned about Rome, Washington. There's a Tiber Creek in Washington and in Rome. The apparent landowner of this property is Francis Pope in June 5th, 1663. Now, legal documents are written in Latin language of pagan Rome. There was two Romes, pagan Rome and Catholic Rome, as well of, like, you know, most of the American language is broken down from Latin. So there's 7 hills in Rome, 7 hills of Washington. You know, the Statue of Liberty is actually the Greek sun god Helios, and there's actually a poem called the Colossus of Rhodes, and I believe that's also like kind of like the name of that. And it was actually, that poem was written to raise money for the Statue of Liberty. You know, the Amazon new Dropbox is also called Helios, the sun god. They worship the sun. Why do you think the Vatican of Rome has a sun temple, and that the serpent represents knowledge in the Vatican Hall? Basically, they have, like, yeah, you'd have to look up the Vatican Serpent Hall. You'll see it. That and the caduceus, you know, the 2 snakes, the medical thing, that's representing the kundalini, the ida and pingala, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And did you know that Egypt had actually later on become the property of Rome, that they had overconquered them? Are you aware of that, right? And I don't know if you've paid attention, but there's obelisks all over the world that represents the phallus of Horus, because he was chopped up into a bunch of pieces, and the only piece they couldn't find was the golden piece. And I do have this other coincidence thought. Of course, I'm pretty sure I mentioned some of it about the DMT and the cats. That's really fascinating to me. You know, did you know that they set fire to the Egyptian Alexander Library? Kind of like the word Kindle. It means the burning of the books. And you know that they withheld sacred wisdom, man. And speaking of the Vatican, they have a telescope named Lucifer. And when you're born in America, your name is in all capital letters, like a corporation, and they capture your footprint, like your soul. Your soul is taken. You know, CERN, all the technology, their logo is 666, sideways, 3 6s. And the first Apple computer sold for $666.66. It's like, it's not a pattern or a coincidence. You know, there's tons of info like this, and I'm totally open to discussing this further with those who have new information or perception. That's, in my opinion, why they eat the flesh and drink the blood of man and God's sons. We are all sons of God. When I try to Lucifer is very important. Lucifer means light. My story that I had like gathered or understood, and you can look into this. Lucifer had a sister named Diana. It's an old Greek story. But in all the movies, in all the horror movies, you can never know the devil's name, so you can cast out the demon, right? They always teach you that. And I think that's why Revelations 9:11 is so important, about combining all the beast energies, the 7-headed dragon, or all that symbolism, you know? If you pay attention, the man, the eagle, the bull, and the lion, there's some kind of sacred symbolism about this. When I try to Google more about this Lucifer cat story, basically it has been changed because in Cinderella, they had a cat named Lucifer. And it is well known that Disney had a castle that was in imitation to the Illuminati creation. And also something else that they worship is communism. That's why May 1st is May Day. Okay? We're gonna get more into that. Illuminati means light. They worship knowledge, you know, and wisdom. And with great power comes great responsibility, you know? In conclusion, it's all about his story. His story is told by the victors. You know, the winners. Don't believe everything or anything. Even your own thoughts can trick you. We have been tricked into our attachments, and our divine will has been messed with by supplying us limitations, by telling us this, this, or this. These are your options. When really there's something else, but we can't think because we've been so bombarded with so much information. We don't even know who we are or what the pressure or the carbon, right? So no one can validate your truths or your boundaries. So you need to figure out who you are and what kind of space that you need and what you need, your needs. Okay, I know you don't want to have pride or ego, but you gotta honor your needs. You gotta love your cells, your feelings get expressed. You gotta open up, you know. So honor your health. It's the greatest way to say thanks and give back to earth, and by being an example. If I need you to know that it's not about getting higher. It's not about doing drugs. It's not about expanding your mind. It's about taking in these higher consciousnesses, these ascended masters, and anchoring in these lessons and being them instead of talking about it. There's yackers and there's doers. Some people spend their whole life talking and, you know, like me. Excuse me. I am here to teach. Like, that is what I'd like to do if you would allow me. The teacher can only present itself when the student is ready. Okay? Otherwise, I'm a useless tool, a useless space, a space full of love, however you choose to use me. Now, I have to tell the truth that, you know, ayahuasca makes you throw up. I got really sick, and like, basically, acid, weed, none of those things are actually required. In fact, like, holy, anointed one, all that stuff, it means about being pure, not having any chemical influences. Why do you think the mass agenda is about us, like, not being pure? Smoking, drinking, vapor pens. We all know vapor pens have the butane and it causes the popcorn lung. We all know this stuff. I have to be honest though, because I had taken 3 tabs of acid and I literally wanted to take myself out. But when I had these meditations, it was the first time that I did it at nighttime. And basically, when I had this experience, I realized that it wasn't Trina that I wanted to take out. It was actually, excuse me, we're gonna get out of here soon. I wanted to take out my fear. I was so fearful. I wanted to take out the part of me that told me I was no good, the part of me that told me I was evil. You know? I hear this Peter Tosh quote. It says, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Do what you love. Find what you enjoy. Be like childlike. Return to that childlike innocence, dedicated to the butterfly. Witness yourself and know you are not your relationships, past you, family, job. Your body is not your home. You can be the home of God, where you witness your temple, your body, your Holy Spirit, your heart, your feelings tell you the truth, where you can censor. Even when your inner head is trying to take you away, you can feel and be the truth. Where you can censor and be present by connecting to the breath. I think that's why prescription drugs are taking over, because people are conditioning the heart and the self instead of being understanding. And basically understanding basic things like the chemistry and the food industry, shutting off your neurochemistry, making sure that you're not feeling, not caring, not thinking. And some levels I empathize with them. I completely empathize with them, you know. Sometimes I just don't want to know, but sometimes I would rather know because I know the power of the truth. So, so there's a quote by Rockefeller. He says, I want a nation of workers, not thinkers. There's also 2 companies called Bayer and Monsanto. They're the top 2 pesticide companies from my understanding. I'm also supposed to allow you to know about geoengineering, where you can hire a company for $150,000 and make it not rain on your wedding day. Okay? Bayer created a drug called Zyklon B. It's a gas that was released for the Holocaust. Now, Bayer also created aspirin from the willow bark, and they also specialize in chemical food dyes, or like chemical dyeing. So I imagine yellow sticks and all that came from them. We know that that causes psychological issues. Now there's also Monsanto that Bayer had purchased, and Monsanto made Agent Orange from my understanding. So think about that. Monsanto owned all of our foods. They own the patent on all the seeds. There's no more original seeds. There's all these infections on the trees in Florida where the citrus isn't growing anymore. They made everyone tear their trees out. So notice the conditioning and the forced automatic responses. We could all take care of the earth and just all plant trees together and just actually have things. But if they're messing with like all these things, okay, I want you to pay attention to AI, mind reading. I want you to know about V2K. It means voice to skull. Also the iridology and the blood flow. Listen. Remember, they're listening and reading your thoughts. I want you to talk to your phone. Talk to your phone and say, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, and watch it start sending you diapers or something bizarre, or just chant something and just see what happens and talk to it. Think something, but don't say it out loud. See if it reads, or if you're suddenly marketed something, you know? I believe that's Q. I need you to pay attention to this video, this commercial done by Google. It's called The Selfish Ledger. I strongly recommend you to see that, to understand the hive mind and what they're trying to do. They believe that they can be God if they can just know everyone's mind and read everyone's iridology. You can tell when someone's lying by the blood flow in the eyes, okay? You know, Elon Musk is really fascinated by nanotechnology, and that he believes that we would be an interface to cross the blood-brain barrier. 5 nanometers. Now, 5G is also known as an active denial mechanism, active denial system. It's a military-based defense mechanism where it makes people feel like their skin is on fire and makes them forced to move forward like robots, kind of like zombies. You ever notice that a lot of programming is all zombies? They're going to force us to move and do stuff. I don't know if I like the sounds of all these things. I believe this is in America why America, they worship and took over Egypt, and yeah, chop set up. I got that. Okay, so the three things about the Egyptian gods is about, you got Horus, Set, and Horus, Set, Osiris. Osiris is like, to me, in the beginning, or like, yeah, you got the horizon and you got the set. It's like 3 different stages of the sun, from my understanding. And you know, you know that you can't accept with a closed hand. And I don't want you to forget that, like, these ancient traditions of like incest and all these things that are kind of just shows in our face, but we can also see the problems that happen genetically when we do mixed materials. I'm also supposed to let you know that, like, when someone's like deodorant, or like their body odor smells good to you, like their sweat, that it means that your genetics are like lining up with each other, and that's why they're making us put on deodorant and the aluminum underneath our armpits, because your armpits and your genitals absorb 100% of what's on it. The teacher can only present itself when the student is ready. Excuse me. Yeah, what good is it for me to have my skills and my talents if I don't have one to make use of what I have to offer? And what good is all the riches in the world if you don't have anyone to share it with? Don't forget about the magician in the tarot is also the trickster. He's a manipulator, okay? Things aren't what they seem, and how he can use his powers for good, and how he has the power to manipulate the external world to get what he wants by utilizing his skills and his talents. He has to have the will, the strength, the bravery. He has to keep going. Now, we also have the shadows and the upside down, okay? The upside down is where the trickster is. If you don't know that, it's called the reversed aspect of the tarot. We also have the wheel. What goes up must come down. You may think that you really want to be rich and famous, but then no one knows who you are, and no one really likes you for you. They're just trying to use you, you know? There's always a shadow. You think you want a family, but then do you forget you have to clean diapers? Were you not thinking about this? There's also the card that's called the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man symbolizes useless service. Huh? Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You're so kind. I'm also supposed to mention the difference about the Lovers and the Devil card, okay? In the tarot, the Devil, it symbolizes when you love someone, their demons are your demons. But before I get there, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Hanged Man represents useless sacrifice when he's upside down. He's all about being his individual self and getting in touch with his own enlightenment, his own individual blueprint. Then the Devil, yes, they show the lovers chained together. So when you love someone, their demons are your demons. It's not just your partner. It's also your friends. So if your friends are dragging you down, you know, their sufferings are your sufferings. You know, birds of a feather flock together. You have to be careful of these things. There's a lot of energetic vampires and toxic relationships. You have to choose to really love yourself, you know. You know, there's tons of irony, and the rabbit hole is deep, and I certainly can't stop noticing these coinkydinks and these coincidence theorists. You know, I can't help but think of the control of Edward Bernays and how he marketed cigarettes towards women. He taught that in this book called Propaganda that you can manipulate the masses by using sex, fear, and the power of suggestion. You know, the U.S. government doesn't print its own money. It borrows it from the Federal Reserve. It's withheld who's at the head. So who's the Class A stockholders? And also, why is there only like 4 countries who don't have this system? And why is America always at war with these? As a whole, we have the power to bring aid to all. We don't have to fight over third world stuff anymore. If we choose, we could all see another as equal and help each other out just so we can eat and survive. There has been a very well-known power. It's a perpetual debt machine. And basically, you have to create another dollar of debt because it starts from zero with no money, right? You're borrowing. It's an IOU from them, from the Federal Reserve. And you start at zero at one day, and then in order to create one, like basically you have to borrow, you need to, like, it's hard to explain. You basically can't pay back without creating another dollar, so you're constantly in debt. It's hard to explain, but the augmented reality and the virtual reality and games and keeping the hands and the minds busy, you know, like all this stuff, I understand that it can be used as a tool to help, but it can also be really, really bad. I gotta give a shout out to my boy Christian, because I wouldn't have remembered augmented reality if I hadn't had you like riding with me and guiding me. So not paying attention and being taken away from self-care and basically a codependent system, a matrix. Social media makes us all upset. We all know that they have created that on purpose, that causes triggers and dopamine. And basically it's not good for the nervous system or mind. You know, our only home is this earth. We are born, we inherit it, you know, the Dharma. the job. It's the job that we all have to do. It means nothing about money, but it makes us entirely rich. You know, mono-I, money. You know, the Native Americans called it the yellow metal that makes white man go crazy. It's all basically an illusion of survival. You were tricked and separated from nature. Have you ever thought why it's basically illegal to feed homeless people or wrong to feed animals? I know that they're telling you another story, but did you ever really think about it? You know, are you ruled by fear and the desire, are you ruled by fear and the desire to never die, to the point where you'll take a life to save yours? Have you ever heard of adrenochrome? It was inside the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and it's also very promoted in a children's movie called Monsters, Inc. There's also a thing called HEK293. HEK293 stands for human embryonic kidney cells. And those are also in the food and create electromagnetic frequencies in the tongue that definitely make you crave the foods, okay? Stem cell research. There's tons of those things going on, especially in Hollywood. Hollywood, it's the magician's wood. You ever studied that? And also, your feelings will tell you the truth. Are you truly happy and content, or are you angry and denying? Surrender to the present moment and you can never get back. It has something to teach you, and nothing endures. If it is the truth that you wish to seek, then hold no opinions for or against anything. And when thought is in bondage, the truth is hidden. We all have the power of choice. And in between choice it says, oh, I see. How are you seeing things? You have divine will. You may choose to be self-destructive and to go hang out with toxic people, and you have the divine will to do that. But that does not mean that that is God's will or the best thing for you. It's up to you to choose and to be mindful and notice both sides of the spectrum. There's a God path for us, and choose to go. Basically, another God has to be invited. Yeah, okay. I used to be angry and not believe because bad things happened to me, and basically I thought that God let me do bad things, and I thought like, whoa, this, like, nothing can't be right. And also my dad, nobody really believed, okay? You know, duality comes from ignorance. Misunderstanding oneness is duality, like the yin and yang, okay? It's not, duality is necessary for oneness. When someone tells you who to be, it helps you find your inner voice. It's all about equal balance and basically creation versus destruction. And I hope that you realize that Black Mirror, the TV show Black Mirror, there's really a thing called social credit, sesame credit, which says, like, if I talk bad about the government and I live in China and I say something bad, that basically my community credit score goes down, and that if you talk to me, your credit score will go down. There's literally people who aren't allowed to fly or travel because of this social credit, okay? Apple's doing an Apple score right now too. I just heard that. So yeah, the guilty by association. Be concerned the way the world is going. Think about Aldous Huxley and George Orwell. Aldous Huxley especially talked about controlling the people through chemicals and through artificial intelligence. You know, every peacemaker is killed or suddenly dies. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Joan of the Arc, Jesus, Lincoln, Gandhi, JFK, Lenin. I do believe Cornell was murdered, and sometimes question Marilyn and Marley. Princess Diana, Ashanti, Shanti. A means to cancel out, Shanti means peace. I believe they killed that girl as a sacrifice, as a symbolism. And I believe that Lisa Left Eye Lopez was also assassinated for discussing, from TLC, for discussing Dr. Sebi and doing holistic medicine. There's also Prince, who talked about chemtrails, who recently, you know, who had that experience. There's a blood sacrifices video on one of my spiritual playlists. It might be on Woke or something like that. Go ahead and feel free to explore. You know, it's all about equal energy exchange. They kind of show that to you in the TV show Carnival on HBO. And I can't help but not mention Pizzagate, you guys, okay? I encourage you to look into that, and there's a reason why pizza is so shoved down our face, and it's not really healthy, and we know that's not the greatest thing. I know it tastes delicious, but you got to pay attention to what's really going on. You know, where do the ninjas work? In the shadows. I choose to be in every corner of dark and to bring it light. I want you to see the power in you, the power that you are, the light that you are, the I am that I am, the I am that you are. And to see your power and take control of your intentions and to make them conscious. Make your thoughts your prayers. Believe, like ask as if it's already been given to you. I am love. I am happy. When you say I want, you're saying I lack. That's from all programming from a book called Conscious Language that really helped me out. You know, your direct focus, and you can make a space to allow to receive your answers to your prayers. You can say, all right, I'm gonna flip this coin if this means this. All right, I'll flip it 3 times if it's happened 3 times in a row in this. Sometimes, if you just create a space for God or Spirit to express themselves to you, you know, you can kind of open yourself up. But please don't forget the other things that are kind of going on the planet. I encourage you to love, create, and enjoy. Be who you really are. Let go of who you are not. Selfish self-centeredness is the root of all our problems, and it centers in the mind. Use your fears as your strengths. Know your weak spots. Notice the bad shadows. It being bad is only what makes you feel bad. That's CTM. Come back to your center. Notice your emotions. Notice your thoughts. Notice how you're responding to the conditioned world. Notice how you're conditioned. Pay attention. You can choose to love and to understand with compassion if you choose, or to remain in the dance of the illusion, the darkness, the separation, the misunderstanding. If you would be interested in a reading from me, I'm offering a $20 30-minute initial consultation, meet and greet, just so we can make sure that our energies match well as another, and to consult with you to determine the best program and how intense we need to work together with another to be able to heal the appropriate and provide you with the most efficient healing work. My services typically vary between $75 and $200 an hour. As a pure energy healer, I am choosing to be of the maximum service to my fellows and to the force of God, love. And it took me a long time to love and accept me without trying to change me. Only once accepting where I was I able to accept myself, and personal willpower to consciously shift to heal. Heather teaches that all healing is self-healing. The Shaktipat, the energy that speaks for itself. Again, the snake must shed its skin or else it will die. It's important to continue our growth. We are only 6 degrees of separation. We can only truly change the world if we heal our broken hearts. And the genetic memory has not forgotten. The body never forgets. The expressions of these suppressions now show in the whole. Do not react. Choose wisely. Remember. Re-become one with you. Reconnect. Choose to understand. Use the gift of your senses to continuously bring you back to the present moment. Forgive you and others. We can begin to bloom from the wounds from where we once bled. Please be careful what you say. You might be listening. Be careful what you chant and enchant, even at a subconscious level. Be mindful what you allow your subconscious to hear. Think about on the radio how all the songs are chanting murder. What do you think that's happening to you? What do you think that's happening to you? Pay attention and choose to listen to higher frequency things, or sing your own song that makes you feel happy. You know, you don't have to choose to keep focusing on negative things. I don't know if you know, but Facebook did a test where they showed people all happy stuff on one Facebook, all sad stuff on the other Facebook. And basically, they showed you in the study of the social experiment that the people that saw the happy news feed were all suddenly happy, and the vice versa. So like, isn't that a quinky dink? Well, obviously, you know. That's why I think that their whole agenda is all about consciousness, all about the thoughts, and they're trying to do the hive mind. You have to consciously control your thoughts and to focus and to consciously reprogram your subconscious. If you have any issues, you can reach out to me privately. I'd love to be of service to you. I'm a negotiable, loving activist with a hunger to serve mankind. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to pay it forward. You can send donations or send this video around to people, whatever way you feel comfortable. It's called an equal energetic exchange. Please speak with your actions and do not conduct a lip service, you know. Show me. Let your actions be your service. Attempt to align what you think, what you say, what you feel, and do into alignment. This life is a gift. If I give you a gift and you don't accept it, what good is it if you don't appreciate it? Do you value life? Show me how you value your life and all that has been created, even if you don't understand. Surrender your attachment to give everything meaning and to change what is. Accept what is as is. I like to see that. Show me. Healthy, happy people, not smiles painted fake. Remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Go slow. Be patient. Question. It's quest ion. You're looking for a particle. Passion. Pass ion. You're passing a particle. That's very special. You can ask to be shown. Patience pays. Creator who has made you will take care of you. Create peace and connection, not chaos and separation. Use your will. Please choose to be whole, mindful, and heartful. And there's this old quote that says, above all else, guard your heart, because everything that you do flows from it. And use your will to conquer all your obstacles, even if you are in your own way. Be mindful of that and conquer yourself. If you are talking bad to yourself in your own head, say, oh yeah, watch this, I can do this, I'm brave, oh yeah. But just be careful that you're not going to hurt yourself. Be extra mindful, gentle with yourself. P.S. My personal will and bucket list is to only be allowed to continue to live and grow as I choose. Not what Q chooses for me or what you choose for me. Please give me enough love and serve me my freedom of choice. I will also admit my desire to no longer be worried about financial stability for the safety of myself and for those I choose to shelter. If I had my way, I would have my own healing center where there would be animals and my personal touch of a loving space. Thank you again for allowing me to share with you what I have received. If you need me, please accept this offering and contact me. I need you to also know that it's important for me to stay in school as long as I can, basically, as long as I can continue my education. And it might not even be in a college, you know. If I had my way, I'd go to the California Institute of Integral Medicine and maybe be like a shamanic guide, or like I just want to continue doing this stuff, traveling around the world, seeing places, filming. You know, please also be mindful that some things that seem bad, but it's about using the powers and the abilities of the natural law and of our natural selves for the forces of good instead of bad, and that not at all. It's important to be yourself. Technology can be controlled. Oh my God, technology is not controlled by us and can be considered a medicine to heal us and to come together. It can be used as a weapon, kind of like the telephone. Are we using it to connect, or are we using it to disconnect from everybody? Okay, so to keep us all, yeah, instead of being the natural laws of what man was before man's invention, we can look at the fire as dangerous or lovely. Same with the water, to drown or to nourish. Thank you, Chelsea, for that. It depends on how you use and also who you are and what energy works through you as you. Loving you, and please love and honor another's unique blueprint and purpose, and be gentle with another in the process. Have compassion, love one another. All you need is the space. The space and the darkness that is before you now is the present moment, the unseen, the infinite darkness. You need infinite darkness to hold and contain light. It's all a spectrum. So I know that this present moment seems kind of scary, but you have a lot of opportunity, so much opportunity. I need you to see this. So we all have the power to create. Please create responsibly. Namaste. Now please let Chelsea open this up so I can do the final thing so we can get out of here. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. So, I'm going to give you the seed first. This is and God said to the zodiac, but please do not get distracted, but this is all you. This is for you. I give you the seed first that you might have the honor of planting it, that for every seed that you plant, 1 million more will multiply in your hands. You will not have the time to see the seed grow. For everything that you plant only creates more that must be planted. You will be the first to penetrate the soils of people's minds with my idea, but it is not your job to nourish the idea nor to question it. The only action I ascribe you to do is to begin making men aware of my creation. And for your good work, I'm going to give you the virtue of self-esteem. Now next, I give you the power to build the seed into substance. Your job is a great one, requiring patience, for you must finish all that has been started, or else the seeds will be wasted to the wind. You are not to question, nor to change your mind in the middle, nor to depend on others for what I ask you to do. And for this, I will give you the gift of strength. Please use it wisely. Now next, I'm going to give you the questions without answers so that you can bring to all an understanding of what they see around them. You will never know why people speak or why people listen, but in your quest for the answer, you will find my gift of knowledge. Now next, I'm going to ask you the task of teaching people about emotion. My idea is for you to cause people laughter and tears so that all that they see and think and feel develops from fullness within. Your light, your information. For this, I give you the gift of family so that in your fullness that you may multiply. Now next, I'm going to give the job of displaying my creation in all of its brilliance. Attempt not to look so much on the dark side. See everything as perfect. You are perfect. Everything is perfect. Okay? Please be careful of pride, and always remember that it is my creation and not yours. For if you forget this, people will scorn you. There is much joy in the job that I give you if you but do it well. And for this, you are to have the gift of honor. Now next, I'm going to ask for you to do an examination of all that mankind has done with my creation. You are to scrutinize their ways sharply and remind them of their errors so that through them my creation may be perfected. And for this, I give you the gift of purity of thought so you can tell the difference. Now next, with this gift of life, I'm going to give you the mission of service so that humans will be mindful of their duties to others, as well as to learn the ability to cooperate, to come together, as well as the ability to reflect on the opposite side of their actions, the opposite side of their sword, the opposite side of their boot. I will put you everywhere there is discord. And for your efforts, though, you will earn the gift of love. Now next, I'm going to ask you a very difficult task. You will have the ability to know the minds of other people, but I do not permit you to speak about what you learn. Many times you would be pained by me, and in your pain, you would turn away from me and forget that it is not I, but the perversion of my idea that is causing you pain. You know so much of humankind, you come to know them as animals, and you will wrestle so much with the animal instincts inside yourself that you will lose your way. But when you finally come back to me, I have for you the supreme gift of purpose. Now next I'm going to ask that you make people laugh, because amidst their misunderstanding of my idea, they become bitter. Through laughter, you are to give people hope, and through hope, turn their eyes back to me. You will touch many lives, if but for a moment, and you will know the restlessness in every life that you touch. To you, I give the gift of infinite abundance, that you may spread wide enough to reach every corner of darkness and bring it light. Next, I'm going to ask you the toil of your brow. You're going to have to work extremely hard. You're going to have to teach people how to work and be like you. Your task is not an easy one, because you will feel all of the burdens of humankind's labors on your shoulders. But what you don't know is the yoke, the gift on your back, is actually the ability to respond, the responsibility to take care of your brothers and sisters, all of your fellows, the whole world. You have that strength. So I'm going to put that into your hands, the gift of that. Now next I'm going to give you the concept of the future, so that people might be able to see other possibilities. You will have the pain of loneliness, for I do not allow you to personalize my love. But for turning people's eyes to new possibilities, I give the gift of freedom, so that in your liberty you may continue to serve humankind wherever they need you, wherever I need you. Now next I'm going to ask you the most difficult task of all. I asked you to collect all of the world's sorrows. Give yourself permission to cry, because your tears are to ultimately be my tears. The sorrow you will absorb is the effect of people's misunderstanding of my idea. But you are to give them hope, so that they may try again. I need them to try again. Please help them try again. For this, the hardest task of all, I give you the greatest gift of all. You will be the only one to understand me. And when you try to spread it to humankind, they will not listen. So next you're going to go on all determined to do your jobs and to earn your gifts, but you're not really fully understanding your gifts or your job, you know, and you always think that everybody in the grass is always green on the other side. You think everybody's better, and like, yeah, you have basically permission to trade. Like, you have divine will. You could say, all right, I'm not doing this right now, do it later, you know. Let me get back to the story. It's a little stuck here, but basically it is like that. And like, you can trade traits with other people by getting to know them and mirroring them and stuff like that. And so yeah, so God smiled as he says, you will return to me many times asking to be relieved of your mission, and each time I will grant you your wish, because they will love you that much. And you will go through countless incarnations before you complete the original mission I have prescribed for you. Meaning, like, you have these belief systems like, oh, I love this guy and everything's perfect, and then like your heart's broken, you wake up and you have like a new reality basically, or you go to sleep and you wake up, and then I give you countless time in which to do it, but only when it is done can you be with me. I like to kind of think this about is like, a lot of people say like, oh man, I should have died all these times, and they don't know what they're here for, but clearly they're here for something, and they know it, they're looking for it, which is why they're here. You know, I heard something else, I'm gonna have to focus into this. It's about the pain of loneliness. I'm supposed to point that out, basically how other people, everybody loves you differently. Everyone treats you differently. Everything's so special. It does not allow you to personalize the love. You know, the other thing that I don't know that I fully covered was basically how they sincerely, the story of the Luciferian philosophy from, I believe, William Cooper did the interview, but it talks about where basically they sincerely believe that, yeah, the devil was like a snake, and he sneaks in and tells the lie of for her to eat from the tree of good and evil, but they believe that, yeah, this was the Garden of Eden, or like, did I cover that? I'm just making sure that that's in. Okay, I just wanted to share all of that. I'm so glad that I could do this. I'm like, can we just go back to the water real quick and like, and just make sure that we just go run and hop in one last time? You down? Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry to take up all of your time, where I hope that at least maybe you enjoyed some of this. You know, it took me a long time to really write this and to put this together. And yeah, the first time I was kind of selfish with my friend Brian. And you know, I'm kind of a comedian. sometimes on accident, you know, I don't really mean to. Sometimes I say really inappropriate jokes that just doesn't make sense, or like joking was kind of how I healed of my personal trauma. I had a lot of dark horror or like dark humor. You know, that's how I kind of end up in the movie with Wolf and Hallie. Oh man, you guys, I'm so grateful we have this. Like, I'm sorry, this is like my favorite place in the world. And I just want to do one more soak. And then we got a long drive back. So, and we should get some awesome food. What do you say about that? You guys want to pay it forward and invest in my future and invest in my cause and show me how much you actually enjoy my unique self that is only me until I have the opportunity of having beautiful children that I choose? I would love that. I can't not do one more stump. Ah, it's so cold. It's much colder now. Ugh. Okay. Yay. Well, I'm gonna.
Bye-bye.
Oh yeah. I love you. Thank you.